do you guys give me if I kill that bird?
Barbara, that's a bald eagle.
Get away, Baldy! Yeah!
Oh, well, good evening, and good evening. This is The Wort with Mike, Pete, and Steve, GovsRadio.com. We are live here at Governor's Comedy Club in Levittown, Long Island, broadcasting live from the Govs Radio Comedy Studio. Tonight, we have a very special guest, someone that many, many people would love to be drinking the beer we'll be drinking tonight. Before we get to him, you don't see him on camera just yet either. It's a tease, folks, in radio and television. We tease. You guys get mics are on, by the way. You can't talk. I know usually I keep you off, but
Yep, I was waiting.
okay. Tonight we are live on GovsRadio.com. We're also live on Facebook and on YouTube. And guess what? Facebook's working. So go over to Govs Comedy Club radio station on YouTube and Facebook and check us out there. You can also give us a call tonight, 516-465-3990, 516-465-3990 to talk to us as we go through the show. We'll be here for the next few hours. Before we begin, we have some words from our sponsor. Steven, take it away with Rosie's Draft Solutions.
Rosie's Draft Solutions is a Long Island family-owned business that provides professional draft beer system services, line cleanings and maintenance, draft beer line system installs, event dispensing solutions, and more. They are very passionate about craft beer and making sure it has the same quality as when it left the brewery, and is only done by one way, and that's cleaning those damn draft lines.
Cleaning those fucking lines.
Cleaning them. Rosie's services bars, restaurants, halls, events, and all other beverage establishments, including the home kegerator systems.
Home Kegerator Systems.
They service the likes of WA Meadworks, 1940s, Blue Point, Darling, Mauritius Field, and of course our boys over at Hopscotch Bottom Shop.
Long Island Avenue, Deer Park.
Yeah. You can reach Rosie's at rosiesdraftsolutions@gmail.com or call them at 631-219-2075, Monday through Sunday at 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Mention the Wort, get a nice little discount, and maybe
a smack in the butt.
And maybe a little tap
Maybe
on
a
the
little
tush.
squeeze.
You never know.
Pinch and squeeze is nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's loving.
That is love.
So give them a call, Rosie's Draft Solution. Tell Nick the Wort sent you. Receive 10% off your service or order today. And now, Peter, take it away with
Beer Maker, your at-home countertop brewing system. Ever wanted to make beer but didn't feel like spending tens of thousands of dollars to open your own brewery? Beer Maker. At-home countertop brewing system,
By
all
the way,
green.
it's hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds of thousands.
It's getting lowballing it over here.
They've got a few new recipes. Do you want to be a basic bitch and make your own pumpkin beer? Beer Maker. Do you want to wait until actually October to have an Oktoberfest? Beer Maker.
Yeah, there you go.
Do you want to brew a Mexican lager in the middle of January? Beer
Go
Maker.
right fucking to it.
Why
Go
not?
to it. Crispy's Boys all year long.
Crispy boys.
Beer Maker. It's great. It's a lot of fun. Works off an app. Easy to use. Very little cleanup. It's all dishwasher safe. Mention promo code The Wort for a discount on the hardware or on those lovely maker kits.
Yes, and they are very lovely, and you can get 10% off by typing The Wort, all one word, into your promo code beermaker.com. We're also sponsored by VintageBeerShirtClub.com, VintageBeerShirtClub.com, and get your vintage beer shirt today. We actually got one for our guest today. I found the last one, so I got to talk to our buddy over at VintageBeerShirtClub.com, get a new order for our guests for the evening. Go to VintageBeerShirtClub.com, type in Wort, W-O-R-T, for your percentage off your subscription. A monthly beer shirt shipped right to your door. VintageBeerShirtClub.com. We're also sponsored by, sorry, I got something I'm racing today. We're also sponsored by Brewers Hardware. Brewers Hardware. For all your large capacity, small capacity needs, go to brewershardware.com, type in promo code The Wort, and receive a little percentage off your order. And thanks again for Brewers Hardware for supplying us with little gifts to give back to our brewing guests. We are finally also sponsored by, of course, Brewbag. We got to talk about Brewbag.
Yay.
We've been missing out on festivals. Not left and right, but we'll have one probably at the Blue Point Cast Festival. We'll talk a little bit about that one. But yeah, Brewbag. Go to brewbag.com. We have our own web page at brewbag.com. Go into our Instagram and into our profile. And our link tree, you'll see a link right to it. Or you can just type in the promo code The Wort and receive 10% off your order of a brand new Brewbag set. And now they're using customized labels and vinyl stickers so you can customize for your branding or your home, whatever you want. Go to brewbag.com today
And the brew bag backpacks are now in stock.
right.
And they're no longer made by slave labor in China.
That's
They're made
right.
right here in the US of A.
I think that was important, though. I mean,
Yes.
that's why
Yes.
Scott said he needed to
Good
pull
for
it
him.
back on that. So that's awesome. Today and tonight, we are joined by our guest. It's Kevin from Sand City. There he is.
Yeah.
Oh, hello.
Hey.
Glad to be here, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for
Yes,
coming
yes,
in, Kev.
yes.
I don't know what my actual it is. That's the one.
Come on, bro.
I know. I have
There
it.
we
There it
go.
is.
All right, well,
I always forget.
thank you, everyone. Thank you.
It's either that. It's either that. or
Live studio audience.
Yep.
That's as real as the clapping on a sitcom.
Yeah, exactly. You know, Raymond, I think we should go outside. It's not even like a funny one. Kev, thanks a lot for hanging out, man. This is great. We have so much to talk to you about because we got to get back a ways to where you guys started, but excited to talk about my hometown, Lindenhurst,
Yay.
Pete's old hometown, Lindenhurst, and Steve, who just will drive aimlessly for hours just to be it.
In Lindenhurst
Lindenhurst.
to drink all the
My
beer.
New hometown.
That's
Living
it,
there,
and
so
it's everyone's new
living there.
hometown.
Absolutely.
Big things are happening. We're so excited since I moved in to Lindenhurst. 2009. We've been waiting for the town to explode, and little by little pieces here and there building up. It's really starting to come together. So I'm excited. We're going to get into that in a little bit. Just a reminder for everyone, we are live, Facebook, YouTube, govsradio.com, and the phone number, 516-465-3990, right there at the bottom of the screen. Kev, so much to go back to. Let's get back to the beginning.
All right.
Really, I think that's the best place to start. I want to bring everyone up to date, but we got plenty of time to get to there. When working for the last 12 years up in Dix Hills, would always, every other Friday happy hour, would be going to Northport just to get something to go. I'd have maybe an hour or so extra time when the kids were really small to go grab a 4-pack or something to take back down south because of what you guys were doing. And I want to try to figure out through all this without giving away secrets how the hell you can those fucking IPAs so good. God damn it. It's just like
But now, instead of every other Friday going to Northward, now every Friday he can just go to Lindenhurst.
every Friday I stop at
Saturday.
literally on my way home. If I had an electric scooter, I would scoot to it. It's just a little further from walking distance, and I'm getting older, so I'm lazy.
It's probably for the best.
Yeah.
For your liver.
Well, I want to get back to the beginning because I've never heard really how this all started. So bring us back to the origins of the brewery, how you guys picked that space, where you and the other partners came from, and what's going on with it.
And how you made so many people angry when you first dared
How dare you?
to get that building. You bastard, you.
So we open up. It's actually going to be 6 years. 6 years ago on Friday. So
Wow.
That's it?
It doesn't. Yeah, it seems longer.
Yeah, 6 years ago. So
Huh.
we're celebrating our anniversary. We've
Nice.
got a couple of special beers in the tank right now that you could probably maybe conjecture what their names are. So stay tuned for those.
Is it
You'll see-
six?
Is any one of them called
Hey.
Infinity Plus 6?
Or just 6.
But so I mean, a little background on me. I mean, I used to I was in the LIBME beer club as a home brewer for many years. That's actually where I met Steve originally, and like many of us, just had the dream of going professional with it and opening a brewery. So I was living in Northport at the time. I still do live in Northport, and that's that was like my hometown and just such a beautiful place. And I was like, a brewery just needs to open up here, So I had my eye on another building actually for a while there, which right now is the building that we're leasing for our warehouse, which is a really small building down
Yep.
there.
Is it that one right down the
It
side
is,
street
it is.
there
When
with
I say
the garage door?
warehouse,
Yeah.
we're talking 700 square feet
Yeah.
of space, like most warehouses are, right?
So Amazon's not beating down your door for the real estate.
I'll take you for $2 on the dollar.
Yeah. But it was brought to our attention that this building was available, and sure enough, we went in there, and it was a great. I mean, it's actually a terrible fit for a brewery, but it was the perfect fit for us at the time. So, we went in there, and So I mean, my partner Bill, he's a friend of mine. He really used to just kind of come over and drink beer while I homebrewed, and he's a teacher, and that was basically his. The extent to which he brewed beer. So he'd be sitting next to me. He'd be like picking things from the garden, like, let's throw that in there. Yeah, I'm a home brewer. This is cool. So But anyway, so now we've been through a lot together at this point, and it's been a long ride. But in the beginning, it wasn't even our intention really to come out of the door just making IPA after IPA. But
because you're not any good at it. I mean, that's what it is.
Those are always
it
it was
stinks.
always my favorite style, which is why we did have 3 or 4 of them right away on the board. But we were surprised just immediately how well received it was, and how in demand we were. So we just kept, all of a sudden it was 4, 5, 6 IPAs on the board, and that's just what's selling.
Got to give the people what they want.
Yep. But it's nice now. Here we are 6 years later. We just opened up in our second hometown of Lindenhurst, as you guys said. So we opened up there in March. And anybody who hasn't been there, we've got 24 rotating taps. We've got some wine,
That's
cider
it?
on tap. Yeah.
Just 24 of our own beer.
We even have some
Very,
mead.
very small place.
Yeah.
We even have some mead on tap.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You are spitting distance from Joe.
We are. So he makes sure to supply us with
Mead colada,
Yep.
rescue mead. What was the other one I just saw? Oh, the Ecto. Ecto mead.
He's
something
always
special.
yeah, that green one. He's always bringing by something special. So
There's the green one, the blue one. He's Joey in the colors.
The colors. Joey, the colors.
But the nice thing about the new spot having a lot more taps there is that we are able to sort of play around now with some new styles, and and we're seeing that it is a different crowd, and more variety is wanted down there, and some of the styles that weren't necessarily our big sellers in Northport now sell like crazy in Lindenhurst. So
Get back to. I
it's
want to get
nice.
back to that when we get into the beers. But there's a rumor floating around. Did either you or Bill go to St. Anthony's?
We both went to St. Anthony's.
And what year did you graduate?
I graduated in 96,
Okay.
and he was 98.
I'm 97.
Oh,
I'm
there
right in the
you go.
middle of you
All
guys.
right.
How about that? Funny, eh?
You look a whole lot younger than that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
So do
you
you.
do.
Yeah, we're just gonna throw compliments at each other. It's so nice.
Steve, you look exactly your age, buddy.
yes. A day over 40.
Wait.
I do like the shirt, by the way. I noticed it before. Yeah, there you go. You had to go. Yeah.
He most not dead.
Yeah, I
Too
know.
bad.
I got one for you. I
It's
got
a
one for
shame.
you also, Peter.
Yeah.
It's Christmas now.
Okay.
No, it's a hat. He doesn't
so
wear the hat,
it's a
but
hat,
we got
yeah.
him a hat regardless.
So now, like being an alumni,
Yeah.
you probably know that the night before Thanksgiving, the Friars they're hosting an alumni party at the new brewery.
At Sand City, yeah.
Yeah, Sand City South.
Oh,
So
I did
all,
not know
all
that.
Friars are welcome to come on out.
You noticed they didn't let you know. I'm just
No.
putting it out there. How you only just heard about it.
I went to
banned
the
from the Facebook
I went to the
page.
5-year anniversary, and what was great about that is that we got hammered. We took a limo. We drank in the quad, or the what's not there now. It's just a big senior picnic area. What would they call it?
Yeah, it used to be the quad. Right?
It's a quad, right? Yeah, it's a senior quad.
The courtyard.
Senior courtyard. There you go. And that was like the surreal experience after all those years of being there, and just going, okay, now I can finally. I'm old enough to drink. I can drink in a place where I used to talk about drinking, and it just kind of came full circle. And I honestly, my sister graduated in 2000, so she was there shortly after me. It was a great place. I honestly haven't been back. I'm one of those guys that not that I just don't have the time to put the effort back into treating back to the school. I don't. If it was a local school, if it was in Lindenhurst, maybe I'd do it because I'm right there. But because it's up in Huntington and we're running around and kids and all that, life gets in the way sometimes. I'd like to get back, but it's tough. It is interesting though that the alumni will be there. And I do get the newsletter still, the full, beautiful 80-page. What is everyone doing nowadays? I still see buddies like Mike Creighton's on Broadway, or Matt Blum is doing this, and I still.
And then there's Mike O'Toole.
Yeah, and then there's me doing it. It should say they're doing a shitty radio show and an okay job at teaching.
But he's got tenure.
that
so-
show.
But he's got
He's got tenure, so he's.
Speaking of Michael Creighton, I was watching that show, Only Murders in the Building.
Oh,
You see
yeah.
it? And he's got a couple roles in that.
Yeah,
so,
he was in The Office
Yep.
too.
Yep.
There's a couple things he was in. That was one. That was a crew I used to. The great thing about Santhony's, and you were talking about, the amount of variety of people that would show up prior to Northport. South Shore is a little more, I guess, spread out, and a lot more different kinds of people, especially beer drinkers, come out. You could tell. that's the way I felt St. Anthony's was. And as much as, I grew up in my town, I grew up in Amityville. I didn't go to Amityville public school, but I knew a lot of Amityville people, so I hung out. That was like one section of friends. Then we had our crossover friends that went to St. Anthony's but lived in Amityville as well. But then we had all these friends from all over the island, everywhere. St. James, all the way out in Mattatuck at one point. One of my best friends grew up in Bellport, and then my other friend was in Wantagh. I mean, I still talk to those three guys all the time. Brian Buckley.
Oh yeah.
He the redhead. Yeah, he's around. Now he lives in Oyster Bay.
I don't know.
Lives in Oyster Bay.
Just so you know, that was a microaggression calling him a redhead. Yeah. I'm just saying.
Well, it's how people identify him.
If you would have said soulless ginger, that is okay.
Okay.
You can get away with that.
No, most people, if you went to St. Anthony's, he was one of the only redheads besides my ex-principal's son, last name Joseph. What was his first name? Anthony Joseph?
You can't trust people with two first names.
No.
Yeah.
So Anthony Joseph, Matt Joseph.
Yeah,
they
the
were
brothers, yeah.
They were
Joseph.
Yeah,
Good friends of
and
mine.
their
So I
mom
grew
was
up-
my
I
principal
grew up
for the
with
first
Matt.
10 years of my career.
Me and Matt used to jam out on guitars.
Yeah. And Friedrich. Remember Friedrich?
Yeah.
Holy shit. I'm going back.
We are.
Friedrich.
You remember him, right?
No, you
Yeah,
don't
I know.
remember that.
And we really appreciate
Dude owes me $10.
still.
It's not a person. It was a band. It was our
Oh, okay.
decently recording. I actually remastered that album. Probably like
Is it on
7
Spotify?
years ago.
Can I go-
No, it was a cassette. She dropped me a cassette, and I had to digitize it and kind of master it as best I could with what they had. But I started listening to the music, and I'm like, wow, this actually wasn't bad for like 96, 97.
So how are your high school friends?
Yeah, they're all dead because I'm the ancient one, and I grew up in Brentwood, so MS-13 will take you down.
One by one, they all
One
got
by
marked.
one, they
I did want
looking around.
I took St. Anthony's all the time, man. I would love to get back. When's the date of the alumni?
Oh, it was yesterday.
The night before Thanksgiving. So what is that?
Oh, night before Thanksgiving. Okay, yeah.
20-something of November?
Yeah,
Yeah.
24th.
Okay.
I think,
It's a Wednesday.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
That's a big night to go out. That's pretty cool.
That
Probably
is-
the biggest
I
night
was
for
actually just back
DUIs.
there on Thursday.
I don't have to. I live around the block. What'd you say? I'm sorry.
I was actually just back there on Thursday.
Oh, were you? Yeah.
Yeah. So believe it or not, I used to be a math teacher,
Okay.
and actually Denise Creighton, Michael Creighton's mother,
Yeah.
she runs a test prep company.
Well, wasn't she the dean of or the chair, the board chairperson of mathematics there?
No. She was in the English department.
English. Okay.
But now she's like the alumni director.
Okay.
And she still runs a test prep company there. So I teach the math SAT portion.
Yes. Yeah.
In the I just do it for a month in the spring.
Yeah.
Spring and fall.
When it's coming up and just
Yep.
prior little test prep.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Interesting.
Crazy connections with the old
Small world.
small world.
Let's talk about beer.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Yeah.
Well, I want
And let's drink some of that beer now.
Yeah. So I going back to Northport because you're walking around, you're looking for the selection. You saw that you said warehouse area. What was the current spot that kind of set you up and really kind of spoke to you?
What was it about the space?
Yeah.
So the landlord at the time, he came to us. So he was he was looking for a brewery to go in there because there was another brewery that was going to go in there, and
who
and
was
then
that?
something.
Blind bet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Was it Paul at the time?
Yep.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
And then something happened with the two of them.
Yeah.
They got into they were he signed a lease, but then I don't know. I don't want to get into all that. But for whatever reason, it fell through. And then the landlord was like, "Well, this is actually exactly what I want here in my building." So it by word of mouth came to me that he's looking for a brewery to go in there. So I reached out to him, and sure enough, that was it.
Nice.
That was the beginning. So. Mm-hmm.
Now you guys moved in there with not the current equipment you have now. What was the first setup of the brew system there?
So it is the same brew house. So
This exact same equipment from day one?
yeah, so it's the same.
Really?
It's the same brew house, which is a 10-barrel brew house, a 2-vessel brew house, and that's the stuff that's closest to the tasting room there. It's jammed in there first, and then the rest of the building, had the fermenters in there. We started out with 2 20-barrel fermenters and 2 10-barrel fermenters, and those 10-barrel fermenters we got rid of, and we actually sold them to Dubco.
There you go.
So at the time. I think they still have them now.
Yeah, they do.
So we got rid of those though, and just moved as many 20-barrel fermenters in there as we could because we had no more space to, So the only way we could gain volume was by, going up a little bit, right? So
How fast did you have to do that change? Was it within the first year? What was?
So I want to say a few months in, we ordered
Really?
like 2 more fermenters,
Okay.
and then within a year and a half, we got rid of those 10s. We put 3 more 20-barrel fermenters in there, and that was pretty much the max we could do. So
And
we
you're
had-
pretty much maxed out up there. You're not. That's
Yeah,
the
we
reason
had-
why we were expanding. But
right. We had 7 fermenters and 1 bright tank, and that was all the place could handle. We actually moved a few of those tanks down to Lindenhurst now because we're on a 20-barrel brew house down there, so it's just kind of made a little more sense since our canning line's down there and everything. So we brought a few of those down. We do more brewing in Lindenhurst because it's just a little more of an efficient system. But we're still brewing up in Northport every week. In fact, let's see, I'm brewing, believe it or not, Handsome Maniac on Wednesday and Thursday.
There you go.
Up in Northport. Last week I brewed Crypt Kicker, our Imperial Pumpkin Ale.
Yep.
Up
I
in
like that twist
Handsome
on that.
Maniac's
By
the
the way.
triple, right?
Handsome Maniac's the
Yeah.
Belgian triple, yep.
I like the twist on the Imperial Pumpkin. I
Yeah.
do. It's not your traditional pumpkin. It's much darker. We'll get into the beers later. But that to me, I was like, okay, so now someone's doing a pumpkin that I want, as opposed to, shock top pumpkin, which I was just drinking to drink. And I think that'll sustain further.
You're lucky you're sitting over there. I'd slap you right in your face.
What happened?
Drinking that.
Crap. I know. Well, I knew what I was doing. I just didn't.
I just didn't care.
I just didn't care.
You're like Mark Zuckerberg.
I didn't have access. Okay, Steve, at the time to fancy beers.
And did you rim it?
No.
You better say no.
Well, that's why I'm saying the Imperial Pumpkin is like you don't need to. The flavor's all in there. You don't need to get in
And
there with
that's
it.
what always killed me.
Yeah.
When you have guys go out there and I never would put the rim in our brewing. People would be
No
like, "Hey,
rim
can
jobs
you-
at Barrage."
Can you rim? I'm like, no, because all the flavor is in the fucking beer.
And now you're not going to taste the beer.
Exactly. All you're getting is the
Taste the beer.
sugar, cinnamon.
Just completely,
Don't get me started.
I know not to.
Calm down, Steve. Calm down.
Yeah.
You know what I think I need?
Yeah. Crickets.
beer.
Oh, they're coming for you now.
Oh,
Steve.
shit.
Oh, dear. See, they heard you getting a little rowdy.
How do you kids today?
Get off my lawn.
You son
Old
of
man
a
yells
bitch.
at clouds.
So the entire brew house, pretty much to now, is what it would be in that first year.
Yeah.
And you guys are just cranking stuff out. And I know, obviously, with the second location, you guys were growing exponentially, but you weren't really distributing. You weren't doing any of that. You may be selling a couple local sixtels to people in the area. And other than that, it was like you have to go here to get the beer.
Right.
Was that conscious, or was that because you just didn't have a canning line? You didn't want to do like a canning company?
So are you talking about in Lindenhurst? Or
No,
you're
no,
talking
no.
about
Up in
the original
Northport in the
location?
early years, yeah.
No, it was really just a matter of supply. I mean, we were making as much as we could make, and we were selling it all there and to the local restaurants and bars. So we just really didn't have any surplus.
Right. Yeah, it wasn't big enough to really go and
Right.
expand out.
Right. So that's why we knew we hit a ceiling, and in order to get the beer out there a little bit further, we needed another location. So.
Yeah, and you got the oops. That new iteration's delicious, and that was brewed at Lindenhurst, right?
Lindenhurst. I brewed
Yeah.
it personally.
Not
so,
at all.
You can kind of taste that, right?
You can taste a little Kevin in every can.
I don't know. Maybe I should just not drink that. Then.
He's second guessing himself now.
Oh,
Shit.
I brought something up I didn't want to bring up.
Damn it.
Yeah, I threw my pants in there, so
No, they-
literally hopped my pants.
there you go. My own pants are going to every single batch.
To this day, that has got to be the best feed on any freaking Facebook was how that came about. Oops, I hopped my pants. You remember
let's
the
hear it.
remember the guy?
Well, all right. Well, actually, they had nothing to do with each other. Nothing to do with each other. We already had the beer. Oops, I hopped my pants. But then, yes, I remember what you're talking about. Oh man, I do.
So this wonderful gentleman who actually was kind of in the business, and he starts just going at Sand City, saying that they put like aspartame or whatever in the beer because he drank one of the beers and shit his pants. And everybody's like, what the fuck are you talking
Is this
about?
person known to us?
You probably don't know him.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah.
But a lot of people in the business know he used to be a manager for a local establishment that was very big with craft beer. And it was the funniest thing because everybody attacked him immediately about shitting his pants after drink. And I would see Kevin. I'm like, I ain't fucking drinking any of your beer. I ain't shitting my pants. And it was just the most absurd thing that anybody and everybody's like, what
Right.
the fuck is wrong with you?
No,
I
but
know
it
it-
was someone on that page that was like, "This is just a shameful plug for oops, I hopped my pants." We already gave half the beer out.
You know what? That would have been the smartest thing ever. Smartest marketing ploy. Like, hey, so this guy, Newsday's there. You got
Beer's so good, you'll shit yourself.
sign me up.
Just from the taste, you're like, oh, that's so good.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. Some of those
Yes.
comments. I mean, one guy was like, "Yeah, if I have 15 beers, also I'll shit myself."
Of course.
Yes.
And then it couldn't have been his own, individual makeup of what
Right.
his body does. It had to be the beer. And everyone leaving there is just a mass hysteria.
He's like, the only time I ever shit my pants before. We're like, oh, so this has happened several times to you.
Wait a second.
I need to dig a little deeper here.
There's only been 7 other times.
That's right.
6 of those were because of Arby's. This one.
And no, I did not have Arby's that day prior to drinking.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys followed around, a lot of what Long Island was doing at the time. You guys were part of this community as it's growing. 6 years just does not seem long enough. I
Right?
feel like you've been around for much
Yeah.
longer.
Seems like at least 8 years.
Yeah, if not 10. But
No, it feels like a long time to me too.
yeah,
Oh, Lord.
got to be in I would say the sophomore class, if you want to call it anything, of Long Island breweries. When you guys were coming up, who were the other ones on the horizon? I know Harborhead wasn't there yet. I know there was a couple others.
Right.
What was kind of in that same class with you guys as you guys were coming out?
Well, I mean, Barrier was a bunch of years before us. I want to say, right?
We opened up just before you guys.
Yeah. So we had
I'm trying to think who.
Garage. I mean, Great South Bay was
They
years
were
before
open.
us.
Yep, they were open.
Dubco, 1940s.
Dubco. Yeah, us and Dubco, we opened months apart from each other. So I remember I ran into to Chris and Brad at like a brunch. We were going to see Michael Tonsmeyer speak, and we were at a brunch together, and he's sitting next to me, and Brad, he was so like OCD about checking the New York State website to see where their application is.
yeah, yeah.
So someone introduced me as he said, "You're right behind us on the application. Did you get approved yet? Because if you got approved and we didn't get approved yet." I remember that. I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm just waiting for them to send me something in the mail
What is
that
this
says we can
list?
start making beer. But it
It's
was
like
pretty
follow the
funny.
standings of baseball.
That's
He's
how I
like, you got 2 more wins, and then I got it. Winning the division.
So, but then became great friends with those guys. So we were there at their opening. They were at ours, and But
How was that opening? Was it received well by the town at that point? If things were going well, the community, everyone was like so excited to
yeah,
have
it was
a brewery in
shocking.
there.
It was shocking. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, you kind of like so much of my energy and time was just put into building the brewery, and you kind of forget that this is like a business, and this is and also you everything that you put out there, you're like, it's such a reflection of me. So you're like, please like it. I mean, if you see you see somebody who like takes a sip and they're like, oh, you'd be like, what is it? Like,
What can I do better?
now it's like we've been around long enough where you realize people just have different tastes.
Yeah.
And
Right.
maybe, maybe you just don't like hoppy beers, But at the time, so you kind of put it out there, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, that's right. We need to make money now in order to survive. So it was really nice to just see people coming in, drinking the beer, enjoying the beer, and then leaving money for the beer.
Right.
Because it was the first time that the money was coming that way.
Yeah.
So
This is nice. Like, we keep the
People are
electric
spending
on.
money on my beer instead of me
Right.
spending money on it.
Exactly. So, but no, it really was great. The first weekend, it was just jam packed in there, and people were having a good time. People were really enjoying the beers, and it was all downhill from there. So
Now, I know you had a hiccup with the town. You guys were shut down for a little while. What were the circumstances behind that, and how did that get resolved?
So it was actually dealing with COs on the deck area outside.
The walk up?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, so there was a little bit of a battle, I guess, between it was my landlord. It was his deck. I mean, he was the one who built the deck, and at the time the town administrator, who's no longer town administrator there, but I guess he came in and inspected it, and something was wrong. He wanted it fixed, wasn't fixed. And then it was deemed that it was dangerous, and so it had to get completely shut down, and that thing was ripped out, and new foundation was poured, new deck was put down. But in the meantime, we were closed down for solid 3 months.
And things were swirling around, like the town doesn't want you there. A lot of rumors were going around. That's why I asked the question, because nice to hear for you. It's just simple construction, CO issue.
Right. The town of Northport, they've worked with us through everything. I mean, of course, you have here and there, you've got your little hiccups and sometimes little arguments that you get into with certain people. But for the most part, they've been super supportive. They want to see Northport thrive. And I think we're the type of business that fits perfectly into that town. I mean,
it's a draw.
It's a draw, and
right?
There's great restaurants, great shopping. It's right on the harbor down there. You're allowed to bring your dogs in. So, I think that they've really seen what an asset it is to the actual community. So, anybody who maybe in the beginning was a little bit hesitant about having us there, they all have our backs now. Yeah.
Yeah, just like being in Lyndhurst, seeing that town thrive as little by little businesses come in and start drawing people in. You're like, oh,
I went out
cool.
Saturday night in Lyndhurst, couldn't find a fucking parking spot. I had to drive around for like 15 minutes.
No,
well, to be honest with you, park at San City South. It's the biggest parking lot in the exact vicinity of the town.
Only if you're going to the brewer.
Which he does. Well, I said to him, I know he's going to stop there.
So I grew up there. My parents still go to church, 2 doors down from where your business is. And, when I was a kid, I used to remember hearing, every fucking Sunday during announcements, there was, on Sundays, we made, you're allowed to park at the bank next door. You can never use the CVS parking lot. So I think I avoided just out of
that parking, that parking lot was, the building was abandoned for the, past
like 10 years, I think.
However long.
It was a
long time.
So plenty of people have taken up parking there.
Yeah.
That still now are like, don't you tell me I can't park here. And you're like, it's ours.
Yeah.
Like
It's not that anymore.
now, this is our property.
I do like that they put that small lot between you and Restoration over there on the back, so there's a little more. They're starting to find spaces for more people.
Usually you can find parking. You have to drive around for a minute, but there's parking to be had.
There was a fun little study that the village had commissioned to figure out, like, how can we make, Lindenhurst more walkable? How can we draw businesses there? And, do we need, what do we need to do about the parking situation? Because that's a complaint from people who live there is, I can't find a fucking parking spot. And they commissioned the study, and the study said there's actually a surplus of parking.
All right.
$250,000 for someone to tell them, no, you don't have a fucking problem. There's
but I want parking right outside of my business. Right there, right outside of my house.
I don't want to go to North John Street to try to park in that church parking lot up there. I mean, there's that whole wall bounds that is gone.
It seems like the biggest fucking waste of real estate in that village, man.
I mean, they built the housing on the south side of the tracks, which is awesome.
It is.
The
and it's
former kitchen place, former prison.
Yeah, the well.
The well.
Yeah, and it
was Lakeville Kitchens, and before it was Lakeville Kitchens.
Yes. Oh, you mean those
fucking
businesses?
Prison?
Yeah, it's true. And so now on the opposite side of that, the other side of the train tracks, this empty lot. First of all, parking. They should have just left it open. I understand what they're trying to do, but
if they leave it open for parking, someone's got to pay to maintain it.
I agree.
Especially
That's
in the winter.
And if the village took it over, which I don't think they're going to buy,
they take over the liability.
Correct. And then you got the abandoned building, which then you still have to fence off now that you have that parking. So I don't see why no one's really jumped on it. It's a prime real estate. It's now
huge,
it's a huge space,
which might be part of the problem. It might be too big for they may want too much
sublet
money for
it. Someone's got it.
Why
wouldn't you? I don't know. It'd be nice to have like a small parking area there for the public,
Yeah.
and then use the rest of it for more housing, and then you have walkable
Give someone a
space.
tax abatement to carve out for 20 spots.
And then
or
more
something.
traffic, foot traffic into the town and the village and everything else.
Maybe you should run for mayor in Lindenhurst.
It's too much. I don't know.
Do it.
Do you want to get yelled at? Imagine being the mayor of the town now or the village
Imagine
now.
being at any level of government anywhere in the country
Ever
right now.
No.
It's a hard no.
No, I don't want to deal with people. Not at that level.
We've all
for
seen
sure.
those videos of school board meetings.
Oh my god. Oh boy, I don't want to get into it. Did you see the Lindenhurst one?
No, but
Yeah.
I fucking my town, Farmingdale, made like News 12 for it being like.
Oh, did they?
For it being so fucking aggravating.
Well, they said more fucks than you are tonight, so
Probably.
that's
I'm a product of my environment now. That's,
just
Well, fuck you then.
Anyway, the town of Lindenhurst. How did you get to that point? Because you guys obviously were walking around, not literally, but like cruising around Long Island, trying to figure out your next location. You're not outgrown, but reach your capacity, reach your top of what you can do there. What were some of the other towns you looked at? Where were you looking around? What was the thought process? Was it South Shore only? Was it east, west?
No, we were open to any location that finding the right building to put a brewery in is a task.
so we've heard, yeah.
So
No. I had the shittiest one.
So, we knew that we wanted something that was, we liked what we had in Northport. We thought that it was a good model where, it's a downtown area. You get foot traffic. Because, a lot of breweries, they open up in industrial parks and things like that for obvious reasons. I mean, you're just manufacturing
Cheaper,
a product.
right.
It's cheap.
Code requirements.
All of that,
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly. A lot of those buildings have floor drains already, things like that, But we realized that, having that tasting room that's in a downtown area, I mean, that's just huge.
Profit.
So, yeah, and I mean, it can
overhead.
it can easily make up for that increase in rent,
Sure.
difference in
Yeah.
rent. So we kind of really wanted something like that. Now, with that in mind, look at how many towns can you think of that have a building like that are on sewers?
Yep.
That's a huge thing. And, going to have that kind of foot traffic. So, Patchogue was immediately something we thought of. But out there, there's one brewery, I think, out there, isn't there?
It's a little guy. You remember that?
Maybe opened it up a little bit before you.
I think,
Right.
Mike and I, we were there once.
Yeah.
Which place?
A little brewery out in Patchogue.
Green,
yeah.
something,
Yeah.
blue.
No, I think it was
blue. No,
red
blue.
turnover. I knew it was like brick. There's a lot of brick. I remember seeing lots of bricks.
The Brick House.
The brick.
No, wait, no,
No,
that's
that's That's the other one. Really quick, we're checking on Instagram Live. A couple people checking in. What's going on, everybody? Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you hear the audio. I can't quite tell on my end whether you can hear it or not, but I'm pretty sure I set it up right tonight. Yeah, well, not that kind of audio, not like weird, like. But yeah, I mean, to us, what you did for the town. For me as a beer drinker, and many
It's
of the
really
people,
Mike.
Yes, it really is. Thank you, beyond a shadow of a doubt, for coming into Lindenhurst. I would assume it's because of that space. That space had to really jump out at you because it was unused, walking, foot traffic, right space.
Right
You
in
had
the middle of the
back
town,
You had the
it's-
access in the back. If you want to do your trucks. I mean,
Yeah, well, truthfully, so I mean, the village came to us. So RJ Renner reached out to us, said, I love your beer. Lindenhurst would be, we would love to have you. It'd
did
be
you have a
great
lot
spot.
of courters? Were people courting you from when they found out?
No, not
Plenty
at
of suitors.
all. Not at all. Not at all. But sure enough, so he showed Bill around. He literally picked him up, drove him in his car, showed him around a couple buildings in Lindenhurst. This being one of them. And originally we loved the location of the building, but we didn't like the building itself.
Yeah.
Because it was an old CVS that had a wood floor throughout. So
I had no idea that place had a fucking basement too. That was surprising.
yeah. So I mean, it had 10,000 square foot building, but all wood floor. So we're like, how are you gonna make this work? I mean, either you're going to have to add a whole bunch of concrete in there, and
Which has to be
steel
supported.
Exactly. So for structural support. And then, so we kind of passed on the building because we're like, just to reinforce that floor the right way. Like any of you guys ever been out to Montauk Brewing Company?
Yeah.
Out there. Have you seen their backspace there? I don't know if you know. It's reinforced. That whole floor.
No,
is
I
just
haven't.
reinforced.
It's
There's
the
a
pad, yeah.
basement underneath it, so they had to pour all this. You had to put all this steel and then reinforce it with tons of rebar and pour concrete over that.
Almost like a highway overpass.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Crazy.
And we're like, it's just gonna be a fortune, and so we actually passed on that building, and then we were looking at other places in.
Where else? Can I ask you where else in the nurse they showed you around? If you remember.
Yeah, it was over on Montauk Highway. I forget what's there now or what was around there, but there was one other building really that was like a possibility for us.
Was it a corner?
Yeah.
That one
B&B
by your
Fish
house?
Market. You literally
Could
were
be.
on my block.
Oh,
So,
yeah,
Southside Food, and then there was a one small little business and an old
where my
house, and then
barber
there
shop
was
is?
the
Yeah.
old B&B Fish Market that was on that other one. They were right next to
like
each
a
other.
music shop over there too, or something.
There might have been at one point. There was something, a smaller thing over there,
Yeah.
set back a little bit,
Yeah, I mean at this point it was.
and they were
3
showing it
years
off.
ago.
I remember
Yeah,
seeing people
so,
doing it,
you
and
know,
now they tore it down, and now there's the Heatherwood whatever those construction guys that do everything on Merrick Road. It's all the same stuff, cookie cutter kind of thing, and that's where the new haircutters is. The American Gentleman moved in there.
That's where I go.
Yeah, I know. American Gentleman, right? It was right on my block.
Right. Well, what do they have to work with?
Well,
Let's be
I'm
honest.
thinking American Gentleman or Sand City. It wasn't big enough, though, right? It really just wasn't big
It
enough.
wasn't, and it wasn't the right spot.
Yeah.
So
No parking anywhere close, to be honest with you. Maybe a little bit on the lot next door if you.
Yep.
And you have to do a lot more construction.
Yep.
That might have been a
It
tear
just-
out. That place was abandoned for
it was
years.
just not the right spot at
Yeah.
all. So then we kind of passed, and then maybe like 6 months later we came back to it and we just said, we looked at it again and we're like, if we just tear this floor out of here and just sink the brewery down below, it'll be we could keep the tasting room up high as it is now, and but now how are we really getting all of our stuff in and out? So then we started looking into industrial lifts and ramps and that sort of stuff, right? Eventually we just said, fuck it. We're just gonna forklift stuff in and out, and that was the easiest thing. Don't get me wrong, it was a lot of work to remove that whole floor, then we had to pour a new, a whole new
But what was
foundation.
Slab, yeah.
What was so cool though is you used all that wood to build the bar, to build the tasting room,
Absolutely.
the tables,
Yeah.
and when I first found that out, Kev was like, "Yeah, no, it's all these tables."
All reclaimed wood.
There
all
was
I was
so-
like, "That is fucking awesome."
Yeah.
There was so much wood, so many wood beams, and we held on to all of them. And I'm like, we're never going to use all this. And we still have about 12 beams left, but we started with 200, something like that. We just started making everything out of wood. You gotta come over to my house. I got this bar in my backyard. It's sick. I built it this summer. It was awesome. But yeah, I mean, we're making tables. The whole bar's made out of it. In the bathrooms, all the trim, the doors.
yeah.
I mean, everywhere you look, it's that reclaimed wood from there. So it adds a nice feel to it, and,
Yeah.
and it's obviously makes sense to use.
And it also hit a lot of the other checklists, right? They have sewers.
Yep.
The water supply is good, and,
Yep.
and not much has to be done to correct water,
Right.
for that matter. Sanitation, easy access for the most part.
Yep.
And you guys put is that a grain silo out back? So you had the space for that.
Yep. Yeah. So again, having the parking lot and having the back parking lot, place for a silo. I mean, all these things are just like, again, more reason to be there. That building is pretty ideal.
Yeah. And what
So-
you did to it really transformed it from what it was. I mean, I remember going in there as a kid, well, not a kid, but younger guy at CBS, and just, this has got to go. This thing's got to go.
Buying condoms again, right?
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
And then the lady goes, "You're buying only condoms?" Like, she embarrassed me.
How old are you?
Can I see ID? I'm like, I'm 41, dude. Come on. I have 2
bitch.
kids already. I don't want any more.
I don't want these anymore.
Good. Oh, man.
Well, I think that's a good segue to start drinking some beer.
Yeah. There you
Getting
go.
warm over here.
Yeah, let's do it.
Go for it at any time. I want to talk a little bit about the history of Lindenhurst for just a moment while you're doing that.
The town of Breslau.
The town of Breslau. You guys had a whole bunch of when you moved in. Businesses were there, but it wasn't quite to where it is. You got like Hermana's just came in, and You got
So
Belfast that's set up, and then you got a bunch of Bakudo and a lot more business coming in. There's a business right across the street, the bank, the old bank that's not done. That was supposed to be one of the, was it
Mary Carroll's.
Mary Carroll's was going to buy it
there,
in
yeah.
there and do something. Has there any kind of movement on that since?
Well, they pulled out. They're
Right,
not,
yeah, no, I know that, but anyone else interested in it? Because that's
Do you know how?
prime
Do you know how many messages and emails I get?
you set up a
That-
garage
oh,
across
yeah.
the street from
Oh,
Sin
yeah.
City.
We
Come
welcome
on, do
Calm
it.
down.
They're
Yeah,
like, come on, do it. I'm like,
It's huge space.
I
You need a
don't
brew
want
pub there.
I don't want to die in my sleep.
You'd have to- you have
As
to
my
cook
wife
there.
takes one of my rifles and just puts it into my temple.
Not again.
Cheers.
Steve.
Cheers.
Hey.
Clink.
Cheers.
Is it putting out fires?
This is putting out fires.
Yes.
So 5.4% session IPA,
There we
IPA,
go.
whatever you want to call it. We got Citra Motueka in here. Nice, light body, easy drinking.
Just like I remember.
It's tasty.
I think the last time I had that was out of the Northport, and it was one of those first ones, of course, when I started going up there and on a monthly basis to pick stuff up, and I went, all right, yeah, let's try the new stuff. And that one stood out, and Handsome Maniac. I don't think I've had such a crazy flavor of a Belgian triple that I got from that, and I love that one too. There's so many of them that have. I mean, how many beers do you think you've put out since you guys have started? Yeah, let's go to videotape.
Let's go to Beer Advocate here,
Warner Wolf.
man.
Yeah, I mean, roughly, would you say 100 different labels or
It's more than that.
I'd say closer to 300 maybe.
300
Wow.
labels? Fuck. What were the one? Give me one that just has never been brewed again. It was a one-off. You were done.
What shit the bed, Kevin?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Man hands, I think it was.
No, you know what? It's not even things that shit the bed, but we brewed a black IPA.
It's
A couple years ago. Great style, right?
Jesus Christ! I
but it's
fell
one
in
of those
love
like
with it.
inside
you know what?
baseball styles.
Yeah.
Like
Dubco does a great one. Eleanor to me is
Comes out next week.
yes.
Oh, they're deciding to brew a beer that they're gonna sit on for next year. That's cool. That's cool. And I'm not saying that Eleanor is not a great beer.
I'll be the only one to get it, but at least there's plenty of Eleanor to go
Yeah,
around.
I mean,
with me.
it was like I loved getting into brewing, and before I opened the brewery, I loved black IPA. That was such a good style.
It's so good.
So then we
Fucking Wookie Jack from
brewed it.
friggin'
Oh, yeah,
Twice
Wookie
the
Jack.
Walk.
they don't brew that anymore.
No, you can't
Yeah,
find
go
it.
figure. Go figure. Because they weren't selling it.
Right.
So the market for that style, man, it just died.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't see those anywhere anymore. So we we brewed it once or twice, and it was like, I was like, this beer is awesome. I love this beer. It was.
but if you're
what do
sitting
we got?
on it for like 3 months,
Simcoe and Amarillo, we hopped it with. It was yeah. But the last batch of it, we're just like, you know what? This just doesn't make sense to take up our cooperage, our tanks, so we haven't brewed that again. But people still ask for it,
I'm asking for it.
That-
I really do. Black IPA is probably top 3 favorite style. Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah. Oh, without a doubt. When Dubco's Eleanor comes out, I'll be there with probably half a case, because it'll go. I mean, the last year when they did it, or during the pandemic, they were doing the ship to your door, and we'll talk about how you guys did what you did during that time. That's the first thing when I saw that pop up on their website, and I went, "Oh, they got the black half a case," without even questioning anything. I needed to get that, because that's what was the one we had just recently.
black IPA.
Yeah. Yes.
They
Wouldn't have been something I sought out.
I know.
Pete's like, that was 6
It's-
years ago.
Was it Gardy? The Gardy's, or was it something? We just had it. Not Bright Eye. Who the hell?
I don't think we had
IPA?
a black IPA recently.
Yeah.
I haven't
Yes.
on purpose.
Jerk.
It's not my style.
You're a jerk. I do love it. That's that's the first thing. If I see on the
Delco-
board, I'm getting now in case it
Delco
sells
didn't
out.
brew a lot of it though. It's in one of their 10-barrel.
That one, yeah. All right, so that's why it ran out. So I went to go order a second round, because I went through that within a couple days. And it's the pandemic. You got to drink. And it was sold out. And I went, oh. And I don't really think they've brewed it since then.
Maybe we'll try one this.
Dad, do
this
it
fall,
do the small one. Don't do like
Absolutely.
huge release,
We'll
but
do it over in Northport. We'll do a little
yeah.
10-barrel
fucking
batch
love
of it.
black
We'll do it.
IPAs.
We'll see how it is.
Yeah.
Sure.
Maybe the market's come around.
Yeah. A lot of
Or
people have
maybe
been-
it's not. He's going to fucking
Another
come and
one
kick our
is,
asses.
And
another
definitely
one
call
is
it
a
IPA.
smoked porter.
Oh, yeah.
So we did a smoked porter. It was called Beechwood.
yeah.
Or no, I'm sorry, Beachfire. Beachfire.
Oh, yeah,
And
beach
it's
fires.
Beechwood
Yes.
smoked.
Yeah, yeah.
So I guess that was probably 4 years ago that we brewed that beer, and I loved it. It was like I was just drinking it, pint after pint, and that was another one just sat around for a while. And but people again asked for it. That'd be a
least-
nice
at
winter
least with
beer.
Do a
that
Schwartz
one.
beer.
At least with
Black
that
lager.
one, it could stay around a little while.
It can
Yeah.
stick around. So can the black IPA though.
Yeah.
It really it's
It's that
not like the
roasty-
other ones
yeah.
where exactly. So
I'm gonna have when I go off Instagram Live, I'm gonna go check which one it was because I know I drank one very recently and I was like, yes, black IPAs are here. Okay. That one though, it was pretty much once and done just because of the selling market. Anything kind of came out and you're like, nah, it's not really kind of representing us or anything like that. I would imagine early on, right? I mean,
Or,
it wasn't
or
something.
have you had to dump a batch where something,
yeah. We luckily we have not dumped a batch in a long time. Certainly not any in Lindenhurst, but yeah, I mean in Northport there were definitely a few that I mean it happens.
Yep.
And you don't want to put something out there even if it's questionable.
And
So,
it's the shittiest feeling.
It's got to be.
As the hose is going down the drain, you just
terrible. It's
just
terrible.
washing
take your
away money.
Just take your money and just fucking throw it.
I was.
We also lost 2 batches of beer just for other reasons, like a tri-clamp that busted. We had
those things are so reliable. I'm not being sarcastic. They are.
How expensive is a tri-clamp? Or rather, how cheap is a tri-clamp and then turn to be
$3.
very expensive?
and I can say this because I was the one who did it, so
Okay.
I'm the schmuck. But early on, I was going and I was at the brewery by myself. It was late at night. It was back when I was still teaching and brewing beer and all this. So I decide, I'm gonna I'm gonna keg off this batch of beer. I think it was Stormborn. So a Belgian blonde.
Yeah, I love Stone.
And so there's a tri-clamp fitting, and then a butterfly valve, and then that's where you hook the hose up to, or your kegging apparatus right up to that, right? So I go on and I hook the keg filler up, and I fill off like 1 or 2 kegs, right? And then I had to run somewhere, so I'm like, all right, let me disconnect this. I disconnect from the other side of the butterfly valve.
And it's over.
So now you've got. Thank God it was a 10-barrel batch. Well, I mean, not thank God. I wish it was a 3-barrel batch. But
But I have 9 barrels of beer.
Yeah. but thank God it was a smaller batch. But you got to realize too, this is carbonated beer under pressure.
Oof.
So this isn't just like, oh, it's all just leaking out on the floor. This is like a fire hose blowing you across the room. You see it. It's on the ceiling. It's
Do you have security cam footage of that?
I don't.
Did it make it on Wort Wrangler?
I mean,
Those are the best.
and it's terrifying. But then the worst part is too. So what do, right? So you get over there, you put your hand on it.
'Cause that'll
Now
solve
I
it.
got this, right? I'm sitting here, I got my hand, I'm like, shit.
Now,
I
what are you
can't
gonna do?
I can't even reach anything. I mean, even if there was like a fitting that even if you could reach it, you're not gonna be able to get it on, because it's under 20 pounds or 15 pounds of pressure. But I'm just
Reaching
sitting
for
here with
a
my hand on
paddle.
it for
You're
like,
like, "Where's the
and for like a half hour, I'm like, I can figure this out. There's a way I'm gonna be able to keg this beer, And then I'm just like, damn.
This is
it.
your version of like 147 hours.
I think I sat there till like midnight, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. It's gone. So that was a bad day.
Which one was it? Was the Stormborn?
Stormborn,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh. Khaleesi would not be proud.
No.
Oh.
She would not.
Can I cut off my own arm and save
There's no duct tape. There's no nothing I can get to. That's crazy. I mean, that's got to be sad. And the
Makes
cost.
for a good story, though.
Yeah, I'm sure it does.
Yeah.
Worth the time and effort.
6 years later.
Yeah.
It's a great story.
You said that you guys haven't had any issues with Lindenhurst. How was that setting up a brand new system? Were you nervous at all putting out that first beer that was coming off that line?
I mean, I wouldn't say nervous. You're kind of interested in seeing how things are going to translate. But I mean, the first beer we brewed in Northport, you're just nervous because
Yeah,
you're like,
sure.
shit,
Here we go.
right. But no, I mean, at that point, I think we were sort of had things a little more dialed in. We were a little more professional in our brewing expertise there. So we, we knew we hit all our numbers. We pitched the right amount of yeast. Beer fermented well. So we weren't too upset. We weren't too worried,
Anxious?
or anxious that it was gonna come out bad. But
Was it a recipe you'd done in Northport previously? Or was it a new recipe for
the first beer that we brewed there was Oops, I Lindy'd My Pants.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So variation.
So it was the Oops recipe, different hops. That's it. So and it came out great, I thought. So there were really no issues.
It was good.
So we have a bunch of people checking on Instagram. Charlie Becker was saying hi.
Hi, Charlie.
Hey, Charlie.
Brewers Roots is hanging out.
Old bastard, you.
Joe's here. Joe Abruzzo texted me. I invited him. I said, if you have time, come by, swing by. Kevin's here. And he just saw it, and he goes, sorry. If I wish I saw this sooner, I would have been by. But hi, Joey. And then a couple people that...
I'm sorry my dog went after your dog, Joe.
Yeah.
At your brewery.
Joe says, what's up? There's a couple of Long Island.
Can't take him anywhere.
What is this? Craft Not Crap, LI. Say what's up. It's hard to see sideways when I do it sideways. It's just a better shot. People watching Instagram, I'd like to use it this way, but I'm more of a cinematic film guy. I like wide-angled 16:9. Mm-hmm. Feels better. But it's weird on live Instagram, so people are like, got to type this thing. And, yeah. He's at San City. He's there.
Who, Joe?
Yeah.
Shock.
Yeah.
What a surprise.
Well, bringing the dog over. He's like, come pet Hazel. Everyone take a look. You guys put that the Oops, I Lindy My Pants. Obviously, there's been a bunch of different events that have happened over the summer, and now how has that translated? Business picking up, about steady the same. I know it was crazy those first few days. I honestly had to stay away. Yeah. And then on like a Tuesday when you guys were open, I'm like, now's my chance to bite. Running, gotta get in. Yeah, I mean, what's been the turnout? It's been constant. It's been up and down. What's and because of COVID, obviously, things have been weird, right? I mean, you guys had some sort of reservation system at one point, or did you just go with?
No. We never
didn't even make it that,
really
right?
Just a matter of in the beginning when everybody wanted to first come check us out, it was crazy, and also we were at half occupancy or whatever it was at the time there. So but we just
that's
no,
what
it was
it
just you kind of gotta wait. That was just the way we were. Just there's the turnover is pretty quick usually.
And it's a fairly big space for breweries on Long Island.
I mean, I never saw anybody wait more than maybe like 15 minutes to get in. So. But anyway, since the first month or so we were open, then all of a sudden everything opened back up too. So we were at 100% occupancy. So it's been a steady clientele in there. I mean, it's been good.
We have my wife and I have friends live down in New Jersey, and just speaks about how word gets around. But when they found out that you guys moved to Lindenhurst and we live in Lindenhurst, they literally made a whole trip just to come out so they can come to the brewery and
definitely
have an excuse.
Not to see you guys.
No. It was definitely just to go to San City, and we spent most of the day at San City. And they're like, well, we got to go. I'm like, no, we'll just go, let's go visit other places. We want to come back. We come back. But the word of San City, the mindset and everything else, you guys were able to go beyond Long Island. I mean, there's people trading your beers online. Mm-hmm. Allegedly, there's lots of clamor in the hierarchy or royalty of online beer, compared to Barrier or Monkish, or if you want to say other half at this point. How did that develop? What do you think was the key to that whole success? The brand recognition kind of idea.
I mean, I think we just kind of got into the game at the right time. When we started brewing, the New England style IPAs, not even really necessarily meaning to brew those specifically. We were brewing some West Coast styles too, but we, but we were using, the London yeast that a lot of the New England brewers are using, and just creating those hazier beers and then hopping them with whichever hops we could find, from New Zealand hops to some of the
copious amounts,
hops out in Washington, and and so I think all of a sudden it was we're in the right spot where a lot of the Long Island folk, they were going into the city every Saturday to wait on half another, wait online another half. or going up to Treehouse Trillium, making those, or further, obviously further.
I'm
up
glad
to-
you mentioned Trillium. It usually gets forgotten about when you mention Treehouse. I like Trillium better personally, but that's okay.
So,
I do.
so many people are just coming in. They're like, here you are making this style of beers, and it's every bit as good as going up there. So all of a sudden we just started getting that market of people who are coming in, and they're comparing us to some of those breweries that obviously had a lot of hype at the time, and
With a very similar model, because you guys weren't big enough to distribute yet, and that wasn't a choice. That was just a limit. And so when you have places like Trillium and Treehouse that don't distribute on purpose to get the hype up, it becomes a net negative at one point, right? I mean, at some point, people are like, oh, they're selling out, or oh, they're just so elite or whatever. And you guys weren't trying to do that. You're just doing your thing.
yeah, we were just brewing beer, and it was like we were able to sell it right there, and it was great. So, yeah, no
Out
complaints.
the back door.
Yeah.
Out the back door. There would
Literally.
That's right.
There would be that line, and you're just like, oh, yeah, there they are.
That's what I used to do. I used to go right on, what's the street behind?
Scudder.
Scudder, yeah. Used to park there and then walk to the back, and a little table set up.
Yeah,
No, I'll
yeah.
take this, and this. And, ow. Charlie's checking back in. He says, what's up, guys? Charlie Becca.
What's up, Charlie?
Old Man River, that old man river,
He can see you perfectly, like literally in the shot.
keeps on flowing.
He's got some stuff happening soon, too, right?
Yeah, there. I still can't wait till they start doing the Civil War reenactments
Yeah.
in his parking lot, and he could be back in the day when he was the man.
Truly doing his thing.
When he would put the cannonball in, and he remembers that so fondly.
He would write with his feather pen,
His
to
feather
my dearest, to my dearest Loretta.
Coming from the spring chicken himself over here.
Hey, anytime there's somebody older than you, you fuck with them.
May never get the chance again.
That's right. That's right.
So tell us a little bit about the name. I mean, did it come from some experience? Was it based upon your Northport location? What were you?
Sand City.
Yeah.
The name Sand City.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Sand City is there used to be a sand refinery in Northport.
Oh, like
So
a barge out there? Was it like on the harbor?
There's a building out, and now it's known as Sand City. It's where all the boaters go. There's there's still the island where the factory was is still there.
Really?
And
Can
some
you
of the ruins.
beach and do that? And
Yeah,
whatnot?
so there's a beach right there, and then a little island off the beach, and that's where the factory is. But they used to actually take the sand from the pit in Northport.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
So there's that area of the pit there.
Yeah.
They would go and then they'd refine it, and they'd basically barge it up over to Manhattan to make bricks.
Wow.
So
That's
a lot,
pretty
A lot
cool.
of buildings in New York City are built with sand from Sand City. So the name is obviously from there. Now everyone just knows like Sand City is a place to go with boats. Like
Yeah.
go over to Sand City, and everyone ties up and drinks a few beers and swims in the water. It's a great little area. But all the locals and a little bit beyond know Sand City for that.
Oh, now
so
I
we
do.
thought it was a cool for us. We were like, all right, we can sort of have that real local name, but it's also a name that's going to be recognizable, beyond that, because Sand City just kind of means like, hey, I just want to hang out on the beach.
Yeah, it feels like
Yeah.
just that vibe.
Right.
You guys continue to make, some of the same styles. What do you think is the most created, most repeated style or brand that you guys have been putting out? There's a
that's
bunch that
real-
are out. Like, Oops, I Hot My Pants. And
I would say,
lots of iterations.
I
of
would
it.
say you're going to see, Oops, I Hot My Pants is obviously one that we brew regularly, but we don't really have a schedule in terms of, we want to make sure that we brew this beer, then this beer. It's sort of like we just take it month by month, and we're like, all right, we kind of project what our needs going to be. We want to make sure we've got a couple of, your 6 to 7% IPAs coming out. We've got 1 or 2 of your lower ABV IPAs coming out. And then we've got all of these doubles. That,
And
we
3 little
sort of-
birds.
And then, 3 little birds. Or who knows, maybe even a 6.
Oh.
What?
Radial.
Didn't hear that from me.
Radial plus infinity minus 2 plus 7.
Plus and a half.
I love those, though, by the way. It just makes for just good conversation when you go, oh, which one do you have? I like 3 minus 2 plus 1 equals 7.
The infinity. Well, that one was pretty funny. So we, we had infinity. Infinity plus 1 was a derivation of 1, and we got a cease and desist.
What?
From a brewery out in California.
How the fuck do they Beer Advocate? I guess is where they hear about it, right?
Yeah.
Untapped beer.
You know,
Yeah.
and it's
Or
somebody,
any person on social media is like, they're doing it. Go do it. They're doing it.
I know what brewery it is. Should I say it or not?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's-
We're not having California breweries on anytime soon. So,
So
go ahead.
it was Hess Brewing Company.
Sure,
Hess,
everyone
okay.
knows Hess, those motherfuckers.
Everyone on Long Island, it's like a family name. It's like,
Well,
you
so
know.
I think it actually comes from the Hess family, like the gasoline.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, I don't-
I believe so. I believe it. It's one of his sons and somebody who has money there.
Okay.
So he opened up a brewery out there, and next thing we know, we get a cease and desist. I'm sure not really from the guy himself who owns it, but from his lawyers or whatever. And so it's like you have to stop using the name. And we're like, you guys, we're in New York. We're this tiny little brewery here in New York. You're out there in California. And he was at the time a pretty small brewery. I think he's grown since then. But
It's all the sales of
we're
like
kinda
plastic
who's
trucks for
gonna-
Christmas.
Yeah.
You put your extra sticker on it and you're like, see, it's Sand City now.
So then we're like, all right, you know what? Infinity minus 1 plus 2. Do the math. What's it add up to? Huh? Anyone?
Now,
What, infinity plus 1?
It can't be that he's a math teacher or anything like that.
Right.
He was like, people are going to understand what this means.
Isn't it 1 with like a line
Wait,
over it?
did you guys really not get that infinity minus 1 plus 2 is infinity
Still
plus 1 still?
Yeah, it's still the same
Yeah,
thing.
right? You got it.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just infinity.
Maybe.
Because it is an infinite number of
true.
possibilities. I got really quick. I got Craft Not Crap Li poured a can of Island drink for the family on Sunday. Everyone loved it. There you go.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Glad to hear that.
Well, that's what we do. I mean, I have a constant rotation of Sand City beers in my fridge when people come over. It's like, you gotta try this. You know,
I mean, you're so out of your way. How do you?
I know. I go so I drove
Yeah,
hours.
It's where my mom buys beer now.
As she
Because
should.
they're still doing it.
As
It's
she
like,
should.
oh, well,
Yeah.
this is what my sons drink now. I guess I should, get some
I
beer.
have some too.
PETA, I have 3 little birds. It sounded like a cute name. I had 3 of them already. I had 3 already. Is that what that means? Oh, I didn't see 11.5 on the side. Is it? I forget what it is. It's like 10. It's 10.5, 11.5, somewhere in there.
It's 10.5.
Yeah, 10.5. All right. Oh, it's a good one, though. It hides the heat so well.
Mom goes and gets her session IPAs and she's happy, or pale ales.
There you go.
And Dad gets drunk
the neighborhood spot.
and angrily
Oh,
yells
no,
at her
my-
all day.
God.
And yells at clouds.
The best is Handsome Maniac, because that's a beer. So it's a Belgian triple, 10% alcohol.
9%, yeah.
And that's the beer that just notoriously, like, the old ladies love. Like, they come in, they're like, that one I really like, that Handsome Man. It's such a great name. And then they're like, all right. They come back 3 minutes later. They're like, I'm going to have another one of those. We're like, no, you're not.
Nope.
You got to cut them off.
We have to.
But, I
Hey,
mean,
nice, ladies.
but honestly, that happens with, we see that because it is such an approachable beer for 10%.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so drinkable. It's dry and it's, it's just got a lot of flavor to it. So we see that with a lot of the women, they flock to that. They like it. And, you're sitting here and you're like, oh, you got these 100-pound women. Like, you really have to watch it and make sure that they're not, I mean, for the bartenders, at least if they want to buy a case of beer, fine.
Yeah,
Buy a
take
case
it
of
home.
beer, take it home, do whatever. But like our
Liability's
bartenders,
on
like,
you.
oh my god, we gotta watch these people. So
Long Island's checking in. I don't know if it's Greg or Sheila, but they're saying, what's up? Long Island.
what's up?
Going on, guys? So you guys, now you have 2 places. How do you dictate
Where's the
scheduling?
third going?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no. How do you dictate what the schedule's going to be? Are you guys?
God, it's
Is that a
fucking
hard?
nightmare.
Yeah. Is it?
Fucking nightmare.
Ah.
Yeah, because we got to get
Is it
We
like you got to
gotta get
move
grain.
supplies to one? Are you?
Oh
is
yeah.
she going, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Ah.
We basically right now have a van going back and forth between the 2 spots. At least twice a day.
Really?
Wow.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
And that's
they're
just
probably-
supplies.
Just shipping kegs back and forth, shipping
Kegs,
grain,
cans,
hops.
we try to order, grain, raw materials to both spots, but inevitably it's, oh shit, we're short 10 bags of this, and we need a bag of that or whatever it is, or
Yeah.
we're grabbing yeast from, because we're harvesting the yeast over in Lindenhurst and we need it in Northport. So just a daily basis of like, all right, the logistics of moving things around.
Yeah.
That in and of itself is a nightmare.
And getting from point A to B, from Lindenhurst to Northport is not like
25
It's not
to
a
30
straight
minutes
shot.
usually.
I mean, it's a 30-minute drive. It's
Yeah.
not the end of the world, but it's,
You're doing it twice a day, you're really taking up supply. Do you have a keg cleaner at both, or
We do.
Yeah, all right. So I was gonna say that's another thing. You bring one down, clean it, bring it back. It'd be part of the.
Well, but that's another thing that we're constantly doing is because, we'll have kegs that we clean in Northport because either they're coming from the Northport tasting room or they get dropped off there, picked up from a local
Right.
a local restaurant and brought to the Northport spot. So we're cleaning them, but then we need them to, we're emptying a 60-barrel tank in Lindenhurst. It's like, shit, we need to go, we need these kegs. So
Jesus. I can imagine like your yeast cultures in an igloo cooler, like you're doing a drop off of a kidney.
yeah.
Coming in, I got it. All right, get it open, get it going.
You guys are still self-distributing, right?
We are.
Yeah.
We are. And so we haven't been, obviously it's not like we've been distributing, that much beer. Even with the new spot, because we sort of were just trying to see what our needs are between the two locations and all of that. But we did just bring a new guy on who's heading up like our in-house distribution. And
to get out to like the beverage distributors, I guess, right?
Yeah. So
What's the goal? Are you trying to just kind of get it local to start? Are you going to try to go all East Coast?
Long Island.
Yeah.
We're gonna, but we're gonna really try to get it out there on. So hopefully soon we'll see it. We'll see it in a lot of different places. Some of the maybe home distributors on Long Island and stuff like that, where we're really looking at one or two brands to kind of get to them and really only to them, so
Right.
that we won't even have those necessarily in the tasting room.
Which ones
just
were you
to
looking for?
Have a little bit. What's that?
Which brands? Which ones are you? Oops. Yeah. Yeah.
So
And it's identifiable on a shelf, which makes sense. Yeah.
and and again to sort of
Which-
just
yeah.
have that reciprocity with the home distributors, like we're really just selling that through that channel, so that for them it helps them out because they know that there's people are going to go there to buy it, and then they'll drive traffic to us because they'll go, all right, well,
What else
we've
you
got these ones, but you want to try their other stuff? Yeah, go to the
Yeah.
brewery, and so.
So your local distribution, just for like kegs and things like that, I've seen stuff before the pandemic popping up at the Villager. Mm-hmm. So you guys were doing, some individual contracts with some restaurants and bars.
Oh yeah, no. We as of now, we've got probably 100 different accounts. That
Wow,
we,
okay, all
that
right.
we do. It's not regular, but a lot of those beer bars that are sort of doing rotational beers, we're out to those.
And hopscotch as well, yeah. Mark
yeah, and
Winston.
I would say 50 of them are regular. Where
Yeah.
we've got a permanent
Croxley,
line
stuff
there.
like someone there. Yeah.
And
Oh,
I mean
yeah,
all
yeah.
of Northport, and then a lot of Huntington. I mean very local places. That we've got a permanent handle there.
That's
these spots,
awesome.
And
I've seen as far as Alaska, someone have your beer on Instagram, just as part of the beer trade and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I was getting to before. It was just such a strange thing. You got to see, your beer sitting on a beach in, like Puerto Rico, and you're like, well, really? It made it all the way there,
Yeah.
and it wasn't one of your friends just putting in their suitcase and flying it over. It was people actually, seeking out the beer. Have you found, over these years that kind of growing, or have you seen more of just like a local presence? What's been the overall kind of vibe of that reach that you think?
Well, I think in general the craft beer market has become much more localized. Where there's obviously the number of breweries. I don't even know what it is anymore. The number of craft breweries. Do you know what it is, Steve?
Oh, shit. The last time I heard it was on Long Island was close to 80.
yeah,
That's
I was
Long
just saying.
Island. I'm talking.
That's just
Over
Long
80,000,
But-
over 8,000, I think. Probably right. I mean,
Well, nationwide. yes.
Nationwide, I mean, I don't know
It's
if it's
on
that
your
high, but if
side.
it is, I wouldn't be surprised to hear that it's that high.
It's close to 6. In that
Really?
range. Yeah.
So, and I
Let's see what Google
actually,
thinks.
I think it's great. I mean, I don't feel threatened by it because I think that's what craft beer is all about, right? You want to.
There's enough of the market.
There's
where-
enough of the market, and I mean, we're producing however much beer we're producing, and we're selling it to the local market, and people are getting fresh beer.
Yeah.
So, I think gone are the days where it's like, let's try to get our beer out to California and Colorado and
For what?
all over the place because there's so much good beer out there already.
Yeah.
And for us to distribute out there, like think about what the consumer would have to pay too, right? And
Just the
what we would have to
logistics
pay.
of getting it
and
there.
And then now you're competing in a market where people don't know you.
Yeah.
So
And you also don't want to see those prices increase because it does reflect your brewery. I've been noticing lately that some of the non-distributing places are popping up in some of the local distributors. Mm-hmm. And it's because someone's going out and getting it and bringing it back. And then they're charging $30, $40 a 4-pack. And it's like, is that really necessary? And at the same time, does that reflect the brewery? Because I do have something now I go, well, I know what the process is. I know what the cost is. I know why it's there. But is that truly how the brewery wants to be represented too?
No, and we don't. You know, I mean, we're when we do distribute our canes, which we have not done at all yet, but we'll price them so that it's on par with what we're charging at the brewery.
Right.
You know, I mean, we know that everybody's got to make their money. Obviously, I mean that's the way the world works. But for us, you know, sure, we could go out there and be like, well, here you go. Here's what we're charging. And people, you know, the distributors will buy it, but then they've got to mark it up to make sure that they're getting their thing. So, you know, if you go in there and you're like, all right, here's a 4-pack of Oops, I Hot My Pants for $28.
It's
going to
sit there.
Right, and it makes us look like a bunch of assholes, right? Because what are we charging to people? So, you know, we have to kind of appropriately price it to make sure that, you know, they can get their margins and still have it on par with what we're charging.
So at your end, is it worth it for distribution then? Is it not just about, you know, raising the visual of the brand, but is it worth it on a money scale to do something like that? Can you make it at a price?
If you can make it, if you have the capacity to make enough beer, I guess it's worth
Right.
it.
Well, is it about quantity?
Right.
Is
Well,
it about
when it becomes a volume game like that, right? I mean, then obviously your margins start decreasing, but then with volume, you know, pennies add up to dollars add up to, you know, millions, and that's the goal, right?
yes, millions?
Right, Steve?
Excellent.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, all the millions.
$100 billion. But I mean, in reality, like, no, I mean, selling kegs of beer around. I mean, Steve will be able to tell you as well as anyone else that, you know, you don't make money on that. Selling a keg to an account isn't really about making money. I mean, I don't see how you ever really could make money doing that. But it's really,
especially when you have a brewery that, you know, sells a half keg for like $37.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
How you can't compete against that?
So
Which
now,
brewery is this?
Budweiser.
Yeah. I thought you meant like a craft
Uncle
brewery. I'm like,
InBev.
no, but even
No,
even some of the craft breweries,
Yep.
you know, you'd be surprised how cheap their kegs are for people to buy. So,
and for them, is it about that's the actual cost, or is it about more like a marketing
no,
thing?
I think for
get
them,
the name out?
when I say a craft brewery, they're a huge craft brewery who is maybe not trying to be the premier craft brewery, but they're just creating a product that they can sell for a decent price.
Something like a Goose Island, or those mid-range, you know,
Sam Adams.
Sam Adams.
Yeah. And you know, so but I think it's more about just making sure that you're being represented by
Right.
your local community, that people are hearing about you, seeing you, and also, you know, it's great to have that you know, community and just that relationship with these restaurants.
It's a good thing you were a math teacher. You could quickly do all those calculations. Say, is it worth it? Is it not worth it? Easy to figure out.
But
Like,
again, in volume, it you know,
Right.
it makes sense.
It's all about volume.
yeah, no, it is.
It is. But it wouldn't make sense, you know, for us when we were a really small brewery and you're producing, you know, X amount of beer, right? And then there's more of a demand for that than the amount of beer you can make. Well, now how do you want to sell your beer? You want to sell it
Where you can make the most profit.
where you can make the most
Yeah.
profit,
At a
and
cost
then
to the
from there
tasting room.
you kind of go down. So obviously, you know, selling beer in your tasting room is where you make your money. I mean, that's basically where your bread and butter is. And then you know, draft sales are number one, but then following that is going to be any beer to go, your growlers, your cans, anything you could just sell to go
Right.
from the brewery direct is gonna be next.
Merchandise.
Merchandise, sure. And then the next step is, well, now you got to get out there to the market. So where are you going to make your money? You know, so you kind of have to figure out what the best step is from there. So like cans, cans are good. Cans are a good way of getting your beer out there.
And it's a double-edged sword. If you're a smaller brewery that, again, has and there's quite a few of them on the island, people don't know who they are.
Yeah.
But they don't make enough to get out there to put in the bars where somebody could go, oh, who the hell is this?
Right.
Where are they?
Yeah.
I want to go to their brewery. But if you only have that small amount, now it's that double-edged sword. You're like, oh, what do I do? Do I just sell out of my tasting room and make the most money from it, or do I try to get it out there and so more people
Make a little
know
less
it,
right,
and more
drive
people know
some
it.
more feet to the tasting room.
Right.
Right.
From day one, I mean, we supplied all of the restaurants in Northport, and tried to get a little bit further out of Northport, but we wanted to make sure that our presence was there no matter what, even if it was at the cost of a couple extra dollars, in our pocket. It made sense to us. Like that was our way of marketing our product and kind of just getting the community to follow us.
It's almost like a means of advertising.
It is, yeah.
And that's what you kind of chalk it up to, right? I'm going to go dark on Instagram for a minute there's a bunch of people watching, actually. Go over to govsradio.com or Facebook or YouTube to catch the full video and everything, because we have a segment coming up that I'll tease for the Instagram people that Steve has some questions for Kevin. So I'm going to go dark on this, and I'll set that up in just a minute. So go ahead, Steven. Ask more questions.
It always
Prior
goes in the
questions.
cast.
Prior question. You know what?
Pre-question.
I actually, how is it going with the public works? The last time you and I spoke, there were certain issues with, obviously, your discharge. And and I bring it up is because a lot of people, had heard over when you guys first started getting into the new spot. Oh, they're getting such a great break, and they're going to get this, and it's still being handed to them. People don't realize.
no way.
People don't realize behind the scenes that there's a lot of shit going on that you have to deal with. That is not easy, and it's it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, pretty much everything surrounding brewing beer is a pain in the ass.
Yeah. Except for drinking it, unless
Yes.
you're that guy that
Yeah.
hopped his pants.
But
Then he had a bad day. Just a bad day.
yeah, but one big issue was our discharge. So Suffolk County, they did not, or they gave us our discharge permit, but with the exception in there that we had to put in an equalization tank that would be locked. So
And what does that mean? What does that do? That
so
just-
literally what we're doing is we're storing our own wastewater until they come and check it.
Ugh.
And let's say,
And that goes for the bathrooms as well, or just
no,
the
no,
brew
no,
house?
no.
Just
We have,
brew
so
house.
we've got, we basically have two
imagine?
two drain lines going out.
Okay.
How often do they check? And does that become a problem that they're not able to check it as often as you need them to?
Well, so I mean, what happens is they've honestly been great. I mean, the workers there at Bergen Point, because they're the ones that we're dealing with. They've been great and they're working with us the best they can. But this came from the top down, where they just said, someone's got to go out there and check the pH levels, check the BOD levels, the TSS levels, and before anything is discharged, those have to be checked, and then they have the lock. So they literally have a valve that's locked.
With a padlock, and they won't let it
So
go.
then they unlock it, and we discharge it out to the sewers.
Yeah, and they are only allowing a certain amount of discharge to go through.
Well, I mean, so our equalization tank holds 5,000 gallons of water.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
So this is all just our brewery wastewater, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we have to empty it twice a week. Which is, it's a lot of water. It's not that bad as far as the actual amount of water, 10,000 gallons a week or so. I mean, but so we've been pretty efficient regarding recapturing our water for reuse. We've got a hot and cold liquor tank so that we have to use less water to knock out, and then we can catch it back into our hot tank. And
I was going to say, is there a way to kind of reuse some of it?
A lot of it, yeah. But I mean, you're cleaning wastewater. No, that's just got to
Yeah,
go.
no,
Yeah.
it's going to be original.
This reminds me, I have visions in my head of the guy in Ghostbusters that's hassling.
Unlock it.
Just some
Things
dick.
that run through your mind.
Yeah, that was not going through my head.
No.
but now,
Did you just watch Ghostbusters?
But
and
no,
that's why it popped
but
up?
now I can only think about the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
All right. I got my segment popped up. You ready, Steven? All right. We got a little preview, and then Steve will be right back here for something. All right.
Hey, you cool hep cats. Tonight, we bring you a very special presentation. 3 questions with our very own Steve Pominski. Yeah. Steve's questions. 3 questions from Steve. 3 questions. Steve's questions. Go.
Skip at school.
Should I add some skibbly ups?
Yeah, little squiddle
All
ups.
right. Maybe I will.
I'm scared right now, by the way.
Crispy boy.
Okay.
As you should
So,
be.
3 questions. I'm going to ask them one at a time because I used to actually ask them all 3. And after the first one, you're like, what? And especially since we've been drinking, it's,
Can they be the same answer? Can they be the same answer?
No.
7.
I would hope they wouldn't
Some
be,
of
but
it would be, though. Some of it does
could.
end up
It
doubling up a
could.
little
Yeah.
bit. I'm not doing that, yeah.
I've
So-
chosen my answer.
Yeah. Cheese. Just cheese.
What was that craft beer that turned you on to craft beer? What was that one that you said, what the fuck is going on here? I got to try more of this type of craft, at the time, it could be anything, but there's that one beer that just kind of
Man hands.
No. See, now he's going to answer that well 3 times.
All 3 times.
Exactly. I told you I picked my answer.
Smart.
Yada yada yada. Whatever. Let's go.
Somebody was on to me this time. Normally everybody's like,
That turned me on to craft beer, or that turned me on to like this stuff? Because there's actually different levels of answers to that question, right?
Okay.
I would say craft beer, like really turned on to craft beer. I mean, there was the Sam Adams days,
Sure.
right? And then it was like Stone IPA.
Ah, yes.
And that was what kind of first got me like, what the hell is this? This is great. And then back in like 2011, I tasted Heady Topper and a Hill Farmstead Abner.
Oh.
See,
I wouldn't have been able to get my hands on that. I wouldn't even known about it back then.
Yeah, well,
It's like one of those things.
Somebody brought me like a 4-pack of Heady Topper from Vermont,
Yeah.
and I cracked open one of those, and I was like, "What the fuck is this? This is amazing!"
Yep.
I mean, just a different type
Sorcery
of beer,
that's
different.
going on.
And then I
Must be
was
the
up, I
pine
was up
trees.
in Burlington, Vermont,
Almost like alchemy.
on vacation, and I was in a place up there called like the Farmhouse Tap and Grill or something like that up there in Burlington, Vermont, and they've got all craft beers on tap, and they had Hill Farmstead. I never heard of them before, and the bartender just said, "Oh, these guys are fucking amazing. You gotta try some of their beer," So I had that, and I was like, it was like I was drinking liquid hops. I mean. And that probably blew me away more than Heady Topper did. And from then on, I was like, I gotta try to make beer like this. Like this is, pretty amazing. So
Do they market Heady Topper as a hazy IPA? No, not hazy, but just a New England IPA?
he was like the OG of the New England. So he was just like, I'm just making IPAs
Right.
here in
And this
Vermont,
is-
and then it's like, oh, that's what the New Englanders do. Look, let's follow
Because
him.
it's not hazy. It's not what you would consider that
used
level.
to
but
be.
Yeah?
Yeah,
It
but
feels
I
a lot
think-
more...
Focal banger is more hazy.
Yeah,
than-
correct, yeah.
I do have to, I love their, whomever thought of the idea of on the can having drink from the can.
Yeah.
Because when you would pour that into a glass, you went, what
is all
the
It looks like shit.
this particulate that's
Yeah.
in here? There are leaves. There are all leaves. There are all sorts of shit floating around in there. But if you don't see it,
It tastes fine.
and
You don't even know.
yeah, it was one of those beers that everybody they were the OG of
Yeah.
that style.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is your favorite style?
Man hands.
Somehow I saw that coming.
Fucking guy. This fucking guy. right here.
Yeah.
My favorite style.
Yeah.
That's like saying who's your
Black
favorite
IPA.
kid.
Black IPA.
We all have a favorite kid.
You know you have a favorite kid. I mean, you just can't say it out loud.
Oh God, favorite style. I mean, it kind of it comes and goes. You know, it's like a roller coaster. Right now, I'm just loving lagers.
There we go.
Pilsners, you know, nice, clean, crisp.
Very brewer-esque answer, that's for sure. But it is
We get
good.
a lot of that.
Got a lot of
We
lagers.
get a lot of lagers.
Because it is like the brewer's beer. You know, you're around beer so much. We're tasting, you know, and I mean all these great styles and all these great beers, but
It's
but
the constant
sometimes-
Yeah.
in all the trendy, you know, like sours,
yeah.
pastry stouts,
Yeah,
you
they
know,
ju-
haze craze, like
you know, because we're around them all the time and we're tasting them all the time. I mean, we have to. We got to make sure that, you know, we're tasting them from tank to tank.
Yep.
As soon as everything goes on tap, and then it's like at the end of the day, you're like, well, what do you want to drink? I'm like, pour me a pilsner.
Yeah.
You know. So
Speaking of which,
pouring you guys a pilsner.
we have pouring the bills there.
What if you go out to dinner? What would be that one beer, other than what you brew? What would be that one beer? And if he fucking says man hands,
I was hoping you'd forget.
what would be that one beer that you would like to have that you would look for?
That a particular brand that I'm looking for,
Yeah.
a particular style, or
sure.
Yeah,
sure.
All of that.
yeah.
Knowing, like, you know, anywhere you go, you could probably get it, or knowing that the place you're going has it.
You know, I mean, a Belgian style beer, I think. You
Yay.
know, maybe like a, you know, a Belgian blonde, a Belgian white.
Wow.
I mean,
Like Allagash White or something
Allagash
like.
white, absolutely. When I see that on tap, I usually get one of those. And then, yeah, but like a Belgian triple on tap is always nice when you see something like
I
that.
love a triple. I'm still sitting on my
Pomegranate beers.
my St. James double.
I'm sitting on the one you got me for my birthday.
Or is it the triple? I got you the double.
Double.
I got me the triple. Oh.
Yeah.
Because they
I'll take
also
that.
pair nicely with food a lot of
Oh,
times.
yeah,
absolutely.
Little
So-
crudité on a nice.
It's not something you want to like down like 17
No,
of,
no, no, no.
but
no,
like
you're sipping on that. That's
absolutely,
nice.
yeah.
I love that.
That's a treat.
yeah, it's a little treat for daddy.
Yeah.
Mow the lawn.
The
have a
thing too
triple.
with, as you know, anytime you have a nice pilsner and it's done well, it's probably one of the most refreshing beers. It hits all the notes. Oh shit!
This is terrific, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is the Word with Mike, Pete, and Steve. Who's on the phone?
Mike made me call.
Joe?
Joe.
Hi, guys.
Hey,
Hi, Joe.
Joey.
Hi, Joe.
Are you still at Sand City?
I was not at Sand City. I was saying Pete's dog attacked Hazel at Sand City.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm sorry my dog's a dick.
Yeah, your dog was a dick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good thing you're nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What exactly?
They tried to sniff each other, and then I don't know. He fucking doesn't like
Things went sideways.
anybody that
right.
doesn't reside in his fucking house anymore. I don't know.
Joe, I'm sorry I didn't get to you earlier today. It kind of was not a second thought, but I was so busy drinking at Blue Point last night with Zane Lamprey. I totally forgot to invite you. I had it on my mind. And we saw Dave from Dave's Cold Beer and Soda. And I was like, oh, I got to talk to Joe. And then I just slipped my mind. So sorry I didn't get to you.
Whatever, jerk. You hurt my feelings. Man.
I'll make it up to you. I'll come,
and
I'll
not
come
for
drink some
nothing,
mead.
you actually brought that up to me yesterday.
I did. I
You're
said
like,
it.
I think I'm going to call Joey.
I got to
have him
call
come
Joe
down.
and let him know. And it slipped my mind until this morning when my hangover finally cured up. And I was like, all right.
What time was that?
Like 10:30 a.m.
Okay, that was
Yeah.
about me too. Yeah.
Is when I had lunch.
8:02 p.m.
Yeah. Just before the show
We cracked
started.
a beer.
Some life you live, huh? 10:30 in the morning.
Well, I was in the middle of class. You're lucky you had to see me. You had to see me teach my first period. Try to get through that in the morning. Oh boy. What are you up to tonight?
Just watching Homestead Rescue with my dog.
Okay.
All right.
Exciting life we lead as the
HGTV's really jumped the shark, hasn't it?
Joe, why I asked you to call in because I want you to weigh in on this. So you were established in Lindenhurst prior to Sand City coming in. Have you seen a major difference in the town, in the vibe since Sand City has been there?
I think so. It's just another location. It's another cool place for people to bounce around town with. So, I mean, during the summer, I feel like we've seen a lot of foot traffic.
Yep.
And it's given people another place to, like, go. Like people will park in a parking lot and just literally walk around town and hit multiple places.
Yep. And you see that sharing of like the businesses in town getting along and things like that.
Yes, we all seem to get along.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a permanent line at Sand City. We carry a rotating Sand City can.
Depending on how this phone
like,
call
everyone kind
goes.
of supports each other. Like, no one looks at each other as a competition.
Yeah.
We're just trying to build this area up.
And you guys were carrying "Oops, I Lindy My Pants," right?
Yes. Now we have Lindy Lager.
Yes.
Yay.
Which I do like Lindy Lager.
Because I want to drink that.
Yeah.
How many goddamn people order that at the tasting room? A shit ton, don't they?
Lindy
Lindy
Lager.
Lager?
Yeah.
Order it?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
We can't keep we're out of lager and pilsner on tap. We've still got cans of it, but I mean we did the pilsner we did a 60-barrel batch of that maybe a month ago, all gone, and it's all draft sales in the tasting rooms.
That's great.
And Joe, how often are you at Sand City?
Every day.
I think every time I've been there, I've run into Joe.
Or at least I see him walking.
I probably set foot in that building 6 times a week.
Yeah.
I walk my dog. Like, if we're opening up, I walk my dog. I pop in to say hi.
He does.
They're open later than we are, too. So when I close, I mean, that's where I go to get a beer.
And that's... I always loved to have a place after bartending for all night, to have a place to go to where it's industry people. When I was at the meatball place, we all go to Dark Horse, or when we were in over in Bethpage, then we'd run over into Hicksville, and there was a place over there. That's what Sand City seems to be for all the people that are working in the town after hours. Sand City's open a little later than most other places, so everyone kind of stops in there, right?
Yeah. So I'm lucky that, sometimes we'll have like 1 or 2 regulars left. I'm like, guys, get the hell out of here.
I need a fucking beer. Get out of here.
I'll buy you a beer at Sand City if you come over there with me now, because I don't want to be here. You'd be surprised how many times that happens. With like 1 or 2 people left in the taste room, because we all kind of share a lot of the same regulars, so I could do that.
And they're all drinking Lindy Lager, and you're like, can we just go have this over there so I can get other stuff?
The thing about that is, I could see him doing this,
I
too.
know.
I'm like, just get the fuck out. We're going to Sand City now. Just get out.
Look at his Google reviews.
I'm like, give me
This guy right here. The owner told me to get the fuck out because he wanted a beer.
But he bought me a beer, so...
if we all leave now, I'll buy the first round.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's like, buddy bought me a beer, so I give him a 5 stars.
5 stars. Joe,
I only do it with certain people. I don't. If there are people I don't know, I don't do it.
yeah, it's tough. You don't want to really scare them, but at the same time, you need a beer.
Unlike that woman that night that sat at the bar and asked you a million questions of what
God.
what
Yeah, you were there for that. Lady.
That was so just... I felt for you because you were just like, just go. Get the hell out of here. She asked every question.
About mead?
About mead, about what flavors. He's got a list. This is what it is.
What's good? It was.
It was hard.
I know it's an education, thing, part of the mead, but when Steve is giving me weird faces, like what the fuck is going on? Like it was above and beyond.
Do you do that? Do you do that to Adam when you're there and they're asking Adam questions about the beer?
Oh, he just walks away from people. I don't know. I hate beer. I hate beer. It's disgusting.
It's better off if Adam doesn't talk to people.
Yes. Just clean up, pick up the glasses, and just.
Does a great job, by the way. I love seeing him walking around. I go,
oh no, his thing is how many pint glasses?
How many pint glasses he can stack?
I've seen him with like 20.
Yeah. It's a hell of a job. Mm-hmm. Joe,
and his jorts are always really nice.
His jorts. He got a really nice haircut recently too.
Did he?
Yeah.
You would never know that. He was wearing a hat.
He's always wearing a hat.
Yeah.
Did
he get the Joe like side?
He got it. Oh yeah, he got it all like shaved on the side, and Pete like, oh yeah, come down and look at Adam's stupid haircut. So he's like, fuck you, then I'm wearing a hat. Fuck you guys.
And that's another thing, Joe. You got more businesses opening in town. Have you noticed a pickup in foot traffic and things within what's going on in Lyndhurst?
a ton. There's
Yeah.
a ton more people coming to town. People are kind of getting over Babylon and be like, we're going to go here instead. Because we have so many cool places now. Things that don't really exist.
Yeah.
We have,
A
obviously we're the
meadery,
only
a meadery we have.
They don't have that. They don't have any
we're-
breweries
we're
or
obviously
meaderies
the
or
only
anything.
on Long
Does
Island.
Babylon have a meadery?
Nope.
Nope.
They,
Nope.
they do not. We have 2 breweries, but we also have like cool restaurants. We have Bakudo, like the Japanese izakaya.
Yeah.
Like that. There's not many of them around. Hermana's like small plate Latin, like killer food. It's like a lot of cool places to hang out.
I'm waiting for more restaurants because I think that there's still a lot more market to be had. Like I was mentioning to Kevin before, the bank across the street from Sand City. That really needs to be a nice restaurant.
You know what Lindenhurst needs?
Yeah.
Another pizza
Yeah,
place.
but the problem is across the street.
What's that,
Being
Joe?
a nice, like a higher end restaurant.
Yeah,
is that
exactly.
You can't put 200 seats in there because where are you going to park people? I know there's that municipal lot in the back, but like parking will become an issue if that becomes a 200
But
seat
that's
restaurant.
that's the argument we were making before with the wall bounds over there. Why haven't they even decided to develop that? Put a little piece of that for parking for the town or the village, rather.
They can't. The village. So the thing is with the wall bounds, the village can't do anything about that. The guy who owns that property, wants an astronomical amount of money, like more than the
Define
village could ever pay for
astronomical.
something.
Yeah.
$1 billion.
Define astronomical. Do you know the number? Just out of curiosity.
I heard upwards of $8 or $9 million.
Seems
property.
reasonable. Doesn't seem unreasonable.
But at the same time, Joe, isn't
big
he
piece.
just sitting on it and paying taxes on something that's not making him any money?
he's probably
Like,
taking it as a fucking
guarantee
write-off
money-
on his taxes.
I guarantee it's a tax write-off.
Yeah.
I guarantee he's just losing money and making it a tax write-off. And
That's
if
sad.
I had to make an educated guess on it, which I know nothing, and people seem to think I know a lot of stuff that I don't.
So then it's not an educated guess, my friend. You just said you know
This is
So
nothing.
legitimately
I'm
my
glad you
educated
said
guess.
it and not me.
So pure speculation.
So a guess.
Go.
So a guess.
I would think that once the well fills up, he's going to put in a plan to make that some more apartments.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I see that right for apartments on the other side, and if they strike a good deal, there could be some municipal parking for the village. There could be something
Yeah,
there.
but-
There's enough room.
Yeah, there's plenty of room there, but I mean, I don't know. Like that place would be awesome. That space would be awesome for so many things.
Yeah, and the
But-
well has its own parking lot. Do they regulate that? Is there a booth or something like that when you're driving on their campus?
There's not. There's not a booth there.
See, what somebody needs to do is buy this thing, put a 3-story parking garage, and charge like you do everywhere else. You know, for so many hours, it's this amount, and if it's overnight, it's
All
fucking-
automated, all set. I know. I've said
Yep.
parking garage before, and people are like, oh, it's a parking garage, but there's no like real residential area back there. So to do that really wouldn't disturb anything, and you're right by the
there's-
train station.
Yeah,
so
and there
This
are
is like an oil.
well, yeah, there's like other buildings that are just commercial next to it. So
I don't know, Joe. What would you do if you were the city planner and I gave you the keys to the kingdom? What would you end up doing over there?
Over there,
build a big
honestly,
meadery.
Make mead.
If it was my money and I could afford to do there, I would put a supermarket there. The village doesn't have a supermarket.
It's true.
well, they did until the one that was there closed.
Yeah. But there's Stop and Shop in West Babylon, and then there's like
King Cullen.
Aldi and
It
Lidl.
could-
Different. It's like
we could
not
use a
a
supermarket.
nice.
Well, there's King
supermarket there.
Cullen north of Sunrise.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a bit of
Yeah.
a trek too.
There's nothing close.
Do you get like a meat farms or something like that, even though they don't exist
Well,
anymore?
I think it's too big
Or like,
for
like
like
does that be?
It's a big location.
yeah.
the wall bounds in there was huge,
Huge.
and they were subletting space out to other retailers.
Oh, were they? Yeah.
Like like Busy Bee kind of like there was like
yeah.
a jeweler and like a fucking shoe
Eyeglass
shine place.
Yeah, eyeglass. Yeah, I see
Yeah,
what
it might be too big for the supermarket they
Like-
would need there.
Lidl or
Yeah.
Aldi or
half-
Juntas
I know-
isn't going to. they're
I
too
know
fucking
they've
big.
reached out and tried to get guys like Whole Foods or like Trader
It's too
Joe's.
big for Whole Foods,
But a lot of
yeah.
times those guys work off of medium like income in the area,
Yeah.
and I don't think the
Yeah.
area hits some of those markets.
And they just
Or
opened
some
a
of
Whole
those-
Foods
some
in
of those numbers,
Massapequa.
Yep.
So it's pretty close
Yeah.
now too. Yeah.
That opens up like
That,
next
yeah,
week or
that
something,
was
right?
opening October 6th.
Yeah.
I just
Oh.
sold weed to them last week.
fucking guy.
Fucking mayor.
Everybody thinks I know. You're giving us dates, brother.
It'd be at 8:00 a.m.
So
they're opening the door.
what meat is going to be available at Whole Foods on Wednesday, Joe?
Rescue and Spritzo.
Spritzo, I love that one.
And honestly, that wasn't meant to be a plug. That was just meant to be like, hey, it's opening October 6th.
Well, hey, why not?
Yeah.
Spritzo's
Yeah,
delicious.
but I honestly didn't even think about it that way. I literally thought about it as, hey, I know for a fact it's opening October 6th.
But
I dropped it off.
but more importantly, Joey, did you have the Montauk pumpkin yet?
So we're gonna go down this route.
It's going to be like that now, isn't
I
it?
had to go there, Joe. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I had to, brother. I know to get you all riled.
I have not.
Yeah. Well, that's for the best. Speaking of which, we're going to drink some Oktoberfest. Joe, what'd you think about?
But I did have the Sand City pumpkin.
Yes.
The Graveyard Smith.
Oh, and that's one that I don't have any qualms of admitting to having.
Can I just
because
drink
it's
this one
delicious.
all by myself?
No, get a shot.
You actually can if you want.
He's got no one. He's just kidding. Joe, what do you think about the Oktoberfest from Sand City? Abin wins.
I like it.
Yeah, I like it.
I drink everything. Man.
I fucking
It's all
love it.
good.
Yeah, it is. All right, I'm going to let
It's
you
all
go.
good,
We're going to
yeah.
finish up with Kevin here. I appreciate you calling in, buddy.
All right, have a good night, guys. Enjoy.
Joey.
Later, buddy.
Cheers.
Yeah, Joe.
Joe Abruzzo, WAME, works in Lindenhurst, sharing the town with Kevin from Sand City South. It's a great space, as we said.
Great neighbor too.
I feel like the Lindenhurst Chamber of Commerce should be promoting our show now. How much Lindenhurst talk we do on almost a monthly basis from the breweries that we have in. We always compare everyone to our town now because it's up and coming and great stuff is happening.
Only thing I wish
Yeah.
for somebody that's out west that the fucking train station was just a little closer. The stop was just a little. It's a little bit of a walk, but I mean,
To fucking what? How can it be closer?
to Sand City, it's the actual
600
station is all the
feet.
way down the block.
Yeah, really.
It's across by the well. It's right there.
So?
So it's a little bit of a walk.
That's
When it gets a
nothing.
little cold out,
Well-
I'm old.
While Steve, I agree. I wish it was right across the street.
Oh, my God.
I mean, we're in a lot better spots than most breweries are regarding
Relative to the Ellen DeBlanc.
regarding where the train station is. You're like, oh man, the train station's like.
Kevin's a
maybe
lot closer to his train
800
station than
feet
Great
away.
South Bay is.
Yeah. Or than in Northport we are to our train station.
Oh, my God.
It's like 3 miles.
Unless
2
they
miles,
resurrected the trolley that went
Right.
up Main Street.
Yeah.
Motion is probably the only one that has anywhere near as close to
Yeah.
Yeah.
right.
But
Yeah,
I think the
pretty much.
beautiful part about that is, there's a train station that stops in town. I mean, you got to walk.
A block.
Like 20 yards.
It's really not that far. If you get
Get on the fucking train, and I want to hear how your fat ass was hurting going down the street. Okay.
No way.
He's right. Last week I took the I got on the train to go to Jamaica because I was flying out of Kennedy, and so I had my bags with me at work because I had a later flight in the day, and I'm like, shit, I gotta leave myself 4 minutes to get to the train station right now.
It's a whole beer if necessary.
And it was terrible. It was terrible. I thought it was gonna be like 2 minutes. It was 4.
See?
Yeah.
Fucking extra 2 minutes.
I grew up in Amityville. The Amityville train station, you could walk to Smallcraft, but that's a good 20-minute walk.
Yeah.
Going all the way down Ketchum or whatever that's not County Line, Ketchum. And then if you look at where Root and Branch is going to be, that's further because they have to go a lot more, like a block or two west to get off the Copeg line. Then you said Motion, which was another one on the stop. I mean, it really starts to become, though, if you have a day, you can make...
Oh, and there's
Actually-
also plenty of bars.
actually,
You
you know
can
who-
for sure do a fucking bar crawl on it.
I
Hell
think
Didn't
South Shore is
the
probably
LARR
has-
sponsored something like that, right?
They did. They
Yeah.
did. Actually,
Yeah, it was Sand City and 27A.
no, it was Sand City, Great South Bay, and somebody else.
Patchogue.
Yeah, the Long Island Railroad did that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so they had a shuttle that left the train station, dropped you down,
Yep.
brought you back. That's a cool concept. But in my concept, you don't even need a shuttle. You could technically walk to each one easily. Start in Babylon, maybe get like a pre-journey drink, I guess, if you want to call it that, and then go to Lindenhurst, Amityville, Lindenhurst, Copeg, Amityville, and then Massapequa Park, and that's pretty much everything
So
in that line.
actually, if you go on the Long Beach line, you can get off. You can go over to South Shore. You could go to Long Beach
And Barrier.
and then get on. Yeah, Barry's. Yeah, I guess Barrier because there's
The track's there, but
Tracks
the
are there, but I don't know what
yeah,
No,
the
the-
station's a little far away.
and then get to Long Beach and get off, walk across the street, and go to Bright Eye.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you could. Yeah, that's not a bad one either. They should really do some sort of promotion with LARR to have that as a thing. You know, one ticket. You know, you get in your stops. You do the total cost. Collaborate with the breweries. It's not bad. It's not a bad idea.
I actually was talking with someone, and they were like, "Hey, what do you think about putting a brewery in over at the?"
In the train yard.
No, well, yeah, no, the New Islanders Stadium.
Oh, UBS. Yeah, USB. Yeah, UBS.
UBS.
Yeah, yeah. It's a good idea as a satellite, especially if you're a brewery that has a farm license, which I assume you do, right? And you're able to do that.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought of opening Sand City West, Kevin?
Yeah, I'm just saying, it's not a bad question. What if you actually had to choose? What would be the little areas you would look at? I mean, you're looking for like the triangle, quadrant. I mean, what would you be thinking about? Staying on the South Shore, or just going mid island west?
Well, we're talking like other Long Island locations, or
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
Elmont's on Long Island.
Elmont. Where did you just pull that out of?
That's technically where it is. That's
yeah,
technically
it's in
town.
Elmont.
Yeah.
It's literally like right on the borderline. Just it's Nassau County.
yeah.
Would it be a thing?
Sand City West sounds better than other half East.
It does. I like it. I'm on board for that. Yeah, I'm on board for that.
That's not
I
bad.
mean, there's a lot of great locations. You know, I mean, you got like the Huntington area, which is good. Then you want to go out east, like you know, I mean, out there, there's a lot of the breweries out there on the North Fork. You know, those are
It's a
awesome.
fucking gold mine too.
Oh my
Like people
God.
going out there, like, well, I don't want to drink fucking wine all day, but I'll hang out at
No.
Jamesport Brewery. My brother was at Long Island Farm Brewery yesterday.
Yeah.
My
It's
my
like-
my daughters was saying that's like all their friends are like, got to go to Long Island Farm Brewery.
Yeah.
Because
Like,
it's new.
How did that? Right.
That's
how
just
did
'cause
that
it's
Yeah, but
new.
it's
fucking
also
happen?
I'm not
because it's
downplaying
awesome
it.
out there. Like
Yeah,
you go
it's
out there and you know, I
Open.
mean,
It's big. You walk
yeah,
around.
it's an experience. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, you're in the farmlands. You're
Pretty good. Spot is cool. That was the review of Long Island Farm.
Pretty good. Farm.
Sparta's cool.
Spot is cool. That's it. I mean, you're talking about a satellite location. Yeah, just go to a cool spot.
Yeah.
Right? People are going to come and drink your beer.
South Fork doesn't have anything, right? I mean, West Hampton, and then that's it.
You
You're
got
not
West
getting anything.
Hampton and then you're out to Montauk,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So something in between, maybe like
Especially for a satellite location where you don't actually have because, you know, the problem there is
Was the need
is
to get a small
discharge and,
storefront.
Right.
you know,
Right.
And I know West Hampton, you know, they ran into a lot of problems. with
Yeah.
I imagine
Well-
there's a lot of NIMBY issues
There
you'd run
was-
into.
well, that's why they ended up at the airport, because that was the only place that had at least a sewer line that could handle.
Breeze tried to open up out there,
Did they?
Really?
and they had a huge opposition. That
From the residents of the Hamptons. You're kidding.
Yeah. And all they wanted to do was they didn't even want to put a tasting room. They just wanted a
Like a
production.
storefront. Yeah.
No, production
Really?
facility, because then they could ship. It's cheaper to ship all around
Long Island.
Long Island, instead of coming from, you're all the way in Brooklyn and going out east and yeah, they got shot down like several times.
Now, what are they doing out of Huntington? It's just a storefront, right? They're not brewing there, they're not doing anything. But
Actually,
You told us they technically don't even own it, right?
they don't know it.
Yeah.
It's actually one of their employees opened up the storefront.
it's like a bottle shop, but yet it's just
Because they don't just sell threes.
No,
there.
because
You
they
can
have
buy-
those.
I don't know.
Bro,
Yeah,
I brought.
they've got our beer
I
there.
brought
Yeah.
fucking Bigfoot there from Sierra Nevada. No, the
cool spot.
Yeah, it actually is.
Yeah.
And the other thing, he has cappuccinos, espressos. So if you're if you're hanging out and the
Well,
other
that's not
person-
beer at all.
No, it's not. Wait a second here.
Hey now,
Something
license
seems
do I need
a
for
little funny.
Just some kind of.
But yeah, he's
Nonsense
he's
going
an
on here.
employee. Decided to open up. He moved out that way, and he gets like whatever they put out. He's like the first guy to get it.
Huh. Makes
And
sense.
a lot of people
Weird
love
that
it.
they call it Threes of Huntington.
And actually, one of your employees also works there.
Yes.
Sours and sass.
Right.
Yep, Sows and Sass.
Nikki.
Nikki.
Oh yeah,
that's
yeah,
it.
sure.
Well,
Yeah.
then again, she works fucking everywhere.
No, right.
She's at Hopscotch.
I mean,
she was.
she really is. She's that
yeah,
girl.
She is a hustler and a half.
Yeah, she is.
She's awesome.
Get that money.
But yeah, they. It's
It's
not a
interesting.
satellite, but
yeah, it's technically not.
guy calls it Three's Brewing. And,
They got the awning labeled
Yeah,
as it. It's interesting.
Curious.
Really can't call it a brewery though, right?
well, it's not a brewery.
No.
It's a bottle shop.
Yeah.
I'll
yeah.
tell you
But
what,
they do
though,
have-
what's pretty awesome is like you go to all the restaurants over there, they've all got threes on tap.
Yeah.
So it's a good
It's
idea. no matter what.
infiltrated
Right,
every
even
bit
if,
of it.
even if it's not owned by threes, like it's
They've
pretty
got all
good.
the
They're
brand
like, sure, go
exposure
ahead,
without
yeah. Right.
Yeah,
yeah,
wait a
you want
minute.
to open this up? Go
without
ahead.
any of the capital investment or risk.
Go ahead. We'll just rake in the
Yeah.
money for,
Kev, I want to talk a little bit about what the future holds. I mean, this is a relatively new brewery in Lyndhurst, though you've been there for what, 10 months?
We opened in March.
March. Okay, so I can do my math. 4 plus, it's 6 months, 7 months.
Yeah, 7 months.
Yeah, all right. So I mean, you obviously see more things that you need to be done. What are we looking at for the future? What's the next kind of step plan for the expansion or moving forward or whatever else you're going to do besides the distribution that we were talking about earlier?
Yeah, so in terms of like the infrastructure or in terms of...
Both, yeah. I mean, in
Yeah,
all aspects.
I mean, we just finally got a depalletizer in there, so... We can,
I remember when we were talking about that. You're like, do we get it? It's this price, but you can fucking move it around. And
I know. And, I mean, we really just got it up and running last week for the first time.
oh shit.
So, it's got, there's still a few kinks we need to iron out.
A depalletizer, what is it? Takes cans off a
Yeah.
pallet and puts them on the canning line?
Yeah, so essentially what it does, that's exactly what it does. I mean,
So what it does?
no, Pete, you're way off. Like what it really does, it takes a pallet of cans and it just loads them.
What were you even fucking thinking?
Wait,
And you got all that from depalletizing?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Guy's smart.
No, I was thinking, like, what else could you put on? Like, it wouldn't fucking take out pallets of grain. Like, that's fucking dumb.
No, you pelletizer.
That would be amazing, right?
That
It
would-
just depalletizes anything you want. You're like, here you go. We got a pallet of kegs.
Whatever you put on there, takes them right off.
Cleans the kegs for you, fills them.
AI has really improved itself over the last few years. Jesus.
No, but so what it's done for us, I mean, it's just a lot less manual work, and it's just cleaner, simpler, and we could
Freeze that employee up to do something else.
Right.
True.
And, yeah, no.
And the time it takes for them to constantly be one by
Yeah,
one
I mean, it's
loading.
not like we still need the same amount of employees working the line, but it speeds up the canning line itself, and just the whole process is cleaner. So it was a smart investment.
The one that I believe I've seen, Oyster Bay has one, correct? It's
right.
that lift. It kind of looks
Yep,
like you
yeah,
put it
yeah.
underneath it,
Yep.
lifts it, pulls it out, and kind of distributes the cans where it needs to go for the canning line. So, like moving forward from that, I mean, that seems simple to most, but that's something that's important to a brewery if you're especially
is,
going to do
it
canning
is.
and you're going to do distribution like you are. Is there something even further than that on the horizon? Like, what are you looking at for distribution? Start local, then move forward. Is a plan for that?
Yeah, I mean, the plan is exactly that. We're going to start local, and then we want to hopefully soon start branching out into the city. Brooklyn, Queens,
Yeah.
Manhattan.
Sand City West.
Once we open Sand City West.
I was looking at the
Sand
map.
City,
There's some
Brooklyn.
very big holes in the old Brewers Think New York,
State
Drink New York
Brew-
app. Yeah. And I'm like, wow, there's nothing in that area.
Yeah.
It's ripe for something to open
But there's
up.
probably a reason.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, this would
Industrial
be a
or-
great idea to open, and then the town's like, fuck no.
no,
Like, you're not welcome
we
here.
do not need any of that.
So, there's usually a reason for those sort of things.
Well, I mean, if you're looking at Western Nassau, right, it's probably about cost. That's first and foremost. It's just astronomical taxes that are involved. When you're
Yeah.
looking at, let's say Eastern Queens, there's a lot of good places. Like Fresh Meadows is a decent area. Queens Village. If you go up a little further north, we know that Mickler basically is gone now. So there's some sort of area there that could be at City Field that basically needs a hole filled, and there's nothing around that area. So that eastern northern Queens area is just nothing. And there's definitely some nice areas up there.
Why
That
can't I think of the brewery that's in Sunnyside? Why can't it?
Five boroughs? No. Fifth Hammer? No. It's I'm thinking five. Single cut.
Nope.
No?
Irish gentleman is the proprietor.
Alewife.
Oh,
Thank you.
Alewife, yes.
Thank
Oh, Patrick from Alewife. That's right. All right.
Patrick Donna.
But even so, that's further west though from any of the things I was looking at. It's just a giant hole in
You
an
got
area.
Finback too, and they're,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. And they opened up a second location
Yeah,
too.
they're in Brooklyn now too.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is crazy. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like these guys that already have established themselves there, know their area, know their spot, know their audience. It's tough coming from out here to go back in there to kind of figure that out.
So, are you the main brewer now?
Man hands.
Touche, sir.
No, I'm not. No, Andrew's Andrew's our head brewer, and so he brews most of the beer. But with the two spots now, me and George are the other two brewers. So, but George is also our packaging manager. So on days where we've got a batch of beer that needs to get brewed in Northport, but George is canning in Lindenhurst, then I'll take the batch, or vice versa. You know, some days we'll send Andrew up there, and I'll take a batch in Lindenhurst. So we're all doing it all. You
I
know,
was gonna say that's
sometimes
got to
I'm on
be
the
tough.
canning
Like
line,
just
too.
again, not even the scheduling with the ingredients and everything that needs to be where it needs to be, but then getting a brewer on that system that day
Yep.
to get it done
Yeah.
and splitting all that team up. Did you have to hire a lot more people? Obviously, you would when we went to Lindenhurst, but like your core people, did you have to designate them out or?
We didn't really bring on too much more production staff. We only Tom came on board, so he's our cellar man in Lindenhurst.
Okay.
And good guy, and he's been great, but he's really been the only one that we added to the team, because most of our brewing now gets done in Lindenhurst, and
Just because of the size.
yeah, it's just much more efficient system. So
And is that due to the type of equipment you purchased for the location, or?
well, first of all, it's twice the size.
Right.
So you're brewing a batch of beer in X amount of hours, and you're yielding twice as much from that batch. So we can fill a 20-barrel fermenter in one turn. Whereas in Northport, it's going to be two turns.
it's 10-barrel, right?
So
Got
it's
it.
2 turns to fill up one tank there.
And no one wants to do a double brew day.
Nobody wants.
Nobody wants to do that shit.
No. So and on top of it now, it's like the first couple times we brewed, we were like, oh man, this is like a nightmare because you're getting used to the equipment, And now it's like, it's so nice to brew there. Like it's so it's such an easier system to work on.
Did you ever fix the problem with the rakes? Remember how they weren't?
Yeah.
Your
The
grain out was.
the rakes are still undersized, but we found a couple workarounds with it. Where we can get them on most of our beers, we'll get them working pretty quickly.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, grain out's never been a problem there. We've got a huge heat exchanger there, so I mean, we can just knock out so quickly. And the whirlpool, the dedicated whirlpool has been great too, because that really pulls all the hops right out, makes a nice cone for us. So, we knock out through that heat exchanger like 32, 33 gallons a minute.
That's awesome.
Which, I mean, for us is great compared to what we're doing in Northport. So
Yeah, it's got to be nice to like use new toys. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, look at this. Look at what I
it's
can
a lot
do.
of fun. So that's
Oh
why
my
immediately
God.
when you're like, anything, any what's on the horizon for expansion? I'm
What
like,
other toys can I buy?
Oh, depalletizer. I'm like, and I'm just trying to think of like all the fun things I could get.
Yeah.
Like, they're-
Some sort of distribution pack. I mean, a repalletizer, right? I mean, to get those back.
Pack
I'm just using
Tucker.
Pete's logic, right? I mean,
Just throw Peace Logic in there, and it actually puts it on the pallet for you.
So
Yeah, that's called George, and the other guys that are
I am the repalletizer.
we actually bought like a spent grain system, so it'll
that's right.
it'll push the grain out for you. But we haven't even installed it yet, because it's actually been it's been a lot easier for us to get the grain out of there than we thought it was going to be. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot going on. I mean, the town's going to be exploding. The restaurants, bars, stuff like that's going to continue moving forward. The new place is going in the Brew House Pub now, right? There's going to be a new restaurant there.
Oh
or-
yeah, it's like a taco. And
Oh,
tequila
right,
going in
yeah.
there.
Yeah,
Again.
much better than the shitty bar that was there.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Like
There's that other one too, the Hunter and Thief or something that's supposed to open
That was a steakhouse, right? Over by...
by the pizza place.
Yeah.
over that way.
yeah.
They-
By which pizza place? You have to
think
be
they're
a
all-
lot more
The
specific.
one
15.
on the one on Hoffman.
They're open, right?
Well,
They might be.
I don't.
Might be. I'm just seeing so much opportunity, not just for you, but for all the businesses in Lindenhurst. And I know, like you were saying before, the conglomerate. No, that's not the word. The collaboration, I guess. I don't know. With all the other people in there, it really has worked out.
Collective?
I was gonna say conglomerate, but that wasn't the word for it at all. I have too much beer and I'm still drunk from yesterday. So the idea that everyone's kind of working together to kind of push this town forward, and like Joe was saying, people are saying, I'm tired of Babylon. Let's find someplace new. You got to provide something for that audience, and that audience is starting to come out now, especially hopefully towards the end of this, as we've been saying for the last year or so. It's the end of it.
We're turning the corner on the pandemic.
All right. And there's just another corner right over there.
And let's face it, Lindenhurst is a huge community.
Yep.
And so where have they been going for the past 10 years? I mean, they're going to Babylon. They're going to
Bayshore,
Massapequa,
Farmingdale,
wherever it is. And now they're like, we could just stay home.
Yeah.
I mean, we could just walk around our
5 minutes from my
neighborhood.
house.
And there's all these great places.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what draws people to a town like that. That's where you'll see property values rising. You'll see people. I mean, this is.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Why do you think Tritech is putting in the well or put the well in over there with however many units they have, 180 something units, right? Because they realize people are going to want to come and live in this town. They see what's going on there.
Yeah.
They're not stupid people.
And they know that what they do will reflect back on the village, and the village then will reflect back on that and add more. And hopefully they buy that fucking wall balance.
We've got all these people now who are going to be residents of the community, but those people want to be residents of that community.
Right.
So it's
And they will hopefully want to buy your beer.
hopefully.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Every single last
At
month.
least some of them are gonna.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
They already
So,
are. Trust me. They're coming in the back door. They're like, yeah, I live right here. This is like my backyard. I can walk right into a brewery. It's fantastic. Yeah. Kevin, I want to give you an opportunity to give us the big plug. Give us all the contact information. That people don't know it by now. They're idiots. But, you give it to us. Give us the social media. Give the website and everything like that.
All right. Well, again, I'm Kevin from Sand City. Our website's www.sandcitybeer. You can follow us on Instagram at Sand City Brewery and at Sand City South, and on Instagram, Sand City Brewing Company. And we love that you guys love us, and we're so thankful to be here with Mike, Pete, and Steve. And we hope for any of you who haven't come down and visit us, come check us out in both locations. We're open 7 days a week, starting at noon, both spots, and that's about it.
Which, by the way, is great. The hours are awesome that you're open every freaking day. I never have to worry about a day off.
You don't have to think about it that
nah,
way,
it's
right?
just
You're
like, just show up.
Shit, wait, what's that?
You're there. You'll be there. Just show up.
When you guys first opened up, I remember going over Mike's house, and I'm dropping something off, and he's like, yeah, I got some more Sand City. Yeah, I'm spending my whole paycheck there. This is great. But it was it was a good reason. It was like, yeah, I could fucking finally, I don't have to go all the way up to North Pole. I could get the beer now.
Take an hour out of
right in my
day.
neighborhood. So great.
It is nice. It's nice to have that community feel.
Yeah.
And on top of it, have a great brewery like Sand City and all the other places, 27A and WA Meat Works and all the restaurants and everything. The whole community is great. And we really appreciate everything that those businesses do for our community. And like I said, I was there prior to any of these things opening, and I've seen such great changes. And this is the way it is for anyone that's listening, for all communities. Embrace this kind of, change, because it's going to help everyone out. It's going to help out your, as Kevin was saying, your property value. But besides that, just something to do. It's something new, something to do, and you won't get sick of it, because most of these, small businesses are really doing great things to try to impress the community and help everyone out. It really is a big deal in regards to trying to get this idea. After the pandemic, everyone just needs something like this, for sure.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Kevin, really appreciate you hanging out with us tonight. Thank you very much.
Thanks
I will
for
see
having
you.
me.
I'll see you tomorrow when I come down and pick up some more beer.
He will. He will.
No, I will. This is the Word with Mike, Pete, and Steve, GovsRadio.com. Steve, any last words before we get out of here?
I like turtles.
Pete?
Don't forget to have your pet spayed or neutered,
This is the word with
especially
Mike-
if your dog's an asshole at
Yeah.
Sand City Brewing Company.
Sorry, Joe. This is the Word with Mike, Pete, and Steve, GovsRadio.com. Thanks a lot for joining us. Check us out on our podcast coming out in a few days on Spotify, on iTunes, and, of course, always on the Hopped Up Network. And we out.
Well, that's 2 hours of your life that you'll never get back.
Are you kidding me?
Please hang up
that game. This has been The Wort on Govs Radio.